Eh, What the heck? Okay, great. Memory. I ran out of memory on my other computer. What's taking up my memory? My graphic? What is it? Well, we're still warming up here. We're just getting a little bit of a warm up over here. Hold on. This is getting funky. What the heck happened? I do know I have a lot of windows open sometimes, but like this ain't even that bad right now. Like, what's up, man? Maybe because my Docker's taking up some processing there. Very odd. Okay, well, that was exciting. That was a good little warm up for this. So, God, what did you say, Tron? Come back in. Tell me what you said. Started my Wi-Fi. Well, I think my graphics card decided to blow up because I have Docker in the back end hosting my CRXNG server. It's just a lot of things at once. My computers, I have one computer that's kind of like a basic server. It's all right, but I also have it running OBS and browsers. And I went to YouTube. I went to YouTube and it crashed my junk, man. It still crashed. I hope it doesn't crash again. I just don't need you to crash. Now my browser is crashed. Awesome, YouTube. Why are you acting like LinkedIn lately, man? What's up with this? Just load it up. There we go. Let me maintain some process here. Doo-doo-doo. So we're warming up the stream. We're warming up the stream. You know what we do. I'm not perfect over here. I don't have like a perfect streamer setup. Like I'm not a streamer. I don't have like if I could, I'd build like a decent huge PC with like I mean I have a big PC, but it's used mostly for other things. Like it's not being used with my PC CPU refuses to offload and stays calm and cool at 399 megahertz. What is it, that red face that's like heating up 100% usage? Um, so my PC, the one I'm actually streaming from, is hooked up with the video card that's hooked up to all my other devices because they're the ones actually gonna be giving information, right? You've seen me code, you've seen me do all kinds of things, and those PCs are the ones feeding into this basic PC. I think it's like a 20, 2060, 20 something. What is it? Oh, I don't even know my hardware on this way, on this one. Let's see. Where's my device? Device properties? Device properties? How can I not remember the graphics card on this? This is using my OBS. It's also taking in a video card feed. I've probably got so many scenes and some of them are running in the background that is just causing a little bit of chaos on the end of it. Like, it's got a CRXNG server in the back end. Fair enough. So I'll move on my ranting about OBS. Mm, so I wanted to go over a couple of things I've noticed. And again, let me kind of like from the perspective and kind of start on the basis again. Um, a chill guy with his hands shaking while drinking water. Oh, I paid for 100%. Got it. Um, I don't like this camera. This camera's not doing so hot, is it? I don't know why the thing keeps working, keeps zooming in and out. There's still modifications I have to do. Autofocus, tap. I'm gonna do a tap focus. Just stay like this. Stop focusing, please. Nope, we're still doing it. All right. So I've been teaching students from again 6th grade to 12th grade. Have been my latest students. Um, and for the most part, it's a 50-50 at this point. It used to be much different. Then again, I used to before teaching 6th to 12th grade, I taught high schoolers and college students. So they were a bit more serious about what they're doing, where they're going, and their goals, right? But when you look at the younger kids, I've had the thumb, the 6, 7. Oh, I have 3, 6, 7 kids right now. I have three of them. One of them, like me, hates when it pops up, and we notice it. We just always notice it whenever any problem pops up with these stupid numbers. The other one is looking for 6 and 7 constantly. If you even write 1657, he sees that 6 and 7, he just starts doing this. And I'm like, okay, get it out of your system. Let's move on. Um, it's kind of fun, but it gets old so quick. Just oh so quickly. Sometimes to keep his attention, I do have to make problems with a 6 and a 7 in it. So I guess that's a benefit. Things get easy when you want to have their attention span come back onto the playing field for a little bit. When they get bored and start yawning and putting their head down, I can just put a problem with a 6, 7, and all of a sudden their dopamine hits high. I don't understand it. I know that the 6, 7 case scenario, what we adults think it is like a rating system. This is like it's all right. It's like not good or not bad. It's a 6 or a 7. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the meme is about. Most of the kids don't even know what it's about. Not all of them. So there's definitely something in the mind of these kids that really prevents them from, whether intentionally, in the process of wanting to learn, can get in the way. That's kind of the big problem. They can get in the way of themselves. Like, whenever you go through a process and you want to help people, you always want to say, like, stop tripping over yourself, stop being in your own way. Sometimes you just have to really put yourself forward and be as focused as you can and stop tripping over yourself, stop being in your way, stop preventing yourself from succeeding. And that's normally a purposeful, not a purposeful, but a common human thing where we maybe worry too much, we maybe have a lot on our mind, we overthink. All of those things can get in the way of us succeeding. But these kids, they get they see something and they get triggered on this TikTok or this meme or just something. And one of my students, maybe, and some of my students are autistic, dyslexic. Um, I have a wide variety of special cases. But the autistic kid, we could be literally going through a problem, and I can show him everything that needs to be done and remember this, right? And then he just goes into a meme fit, just spits out a couple of memes. We go to the next problem. He forgets everything we just did. And I'm just like, we just did this. What is the case for this? What's the equation? What do we need to do next? Where do we begin? Because we've began this problem with different numbers, but we've began at least 3 or 4 times. And he just starts spitting out memes because I guess maybe, I mean, math is boring sometimes, I guess. For me, of course, I use it on a daily basis. So there's this case where you're just like, stop getting in your way, man. Focus in, lock in. Gotta get this fire. I don't know. I just have to communicate with them in a specific way just to keep them on point. Um, yeah, yeah, almost close, right? It's like a rating system. It's like, yeah, 6 or 7, but they get so excited about the numbers. I don't understand exactly what that it really means in a general sense. So it's like, yeah, cool, man, 6, 7, bro. And then, like, of course, whenever you get to a point where like you're a teacher and you actually start replicating the same concepts they do, they get tired of it. They just start like, oh, you can't say that, or whatever. Like, you get to that point where you're just like, all right, we all have our names back and forth. We had fire, cool, ice baby. We had all these kind of things back in the millennial world, right? Boomers, that's I think the Gen Z version of it all. So there's always these like generational keywords and processes that each generation has for the forward and the past generations before and after them. naming conventions that are just there to troll kid stuff. Um, Axel chat. I don't recall checking it, did I? Multi-chat live stream OBS. Uh-huh. I'll have to check that out. I think that might be a better case. I'll save it on one of my tabs to look at it for next time. But that's cool. That's cool. I mean, right now I'm kind of using Stream Elements as format to merge everything into one. So Twitch is on here, YouTube's in chat. Kick, if it ever works out correctly, is also in here. So sometimes I get a cross connection between chats. Um, but hey, anyway, we're about to watch some reactions. I'm about to give my 2 cents on some of these cases, and we're gonna be watching Casey Simpson. He's actually a pretty cool dude. A pretty cool dude. Really do respect this kid. Back to the regular setup that actually makes a bit more sense. This camera is really tripping me out. So let me just make sure audio's gonna work out. Dum dum dum. Is it? Yeah, okay. It is working. And it's also working on my TV. Ah, here. So this case is where Gen Alpha can't read. It's a bit more than just reading words, because reading words is one case, right? But they can't put pieces together to make an idea. That's what really worries me. Because we're so used to like reading snippets online, Twitter and these like one-liners and all this kind of stuff and memes, of course, that that consumption amount really does bring a detriment to the overall idea of comprehension, understanding difficult concepts or more complex connected ideas. So let's take a look at this.
I didn't even have to answer. Buddy went, bro, the wheel of a wagon. And the first person said, oh, okay, that makes sense. Another student asked, wait, where's the Oregon Trail end? Sound out. This is the Gen Alpha who asked what country is the Tour de France?
Oregon.
One student sitting with their best friend in the puddle, staring at the guide screen, and I said, you good? And they said, oh, just rethinking life right now. And I hope they were talking about the game. I don't think we're talking about the game. Two students were green, and one said, you can ask Mr. James, he's there. And I said, where? And the other student said, in 1848. Still 22. So.
Okay. I mean, these are clever comments. This is not exactly what I was looking at. Let me see a little further here.
But Jen's Brainrot isn't just relegated to history. Look at what happened when their teacher wore a suit to school.
First thing in the morning, a student said, President is business here. From the Lego movie. When I walked out of the
Oh.
copies, the student said, you look like Nick Fuentes, which is a brutal pool at 8.
Hold on. What grade are these kids? They be listening to Nick Fuentes? Yeah, be very happy, man. As far as having like I'm happy. I'm so happy I had a strict family as well. Um, like there's something about growing up on a particular level. And I have a lot of my students on the same basis. Wait, I gotta stop looking over there because that's where the other camera is. I have a lot of students that became a little bit aware about how their own classmates a little off. They go a little bit too ham. And then when we have like maybe a couple of months of sessions and we have a communication factor, because it's more than just math. We're communicating on different levels. They're telling me about their day and, kind of a little warm up to the session. And we'll have some students that literally come at me with like just emotional problems with classmates. And I have to like tell them, hey, sticks and stones. Don't worry about what they're doing. Focus on you. They can do whatever they want. In fact, when you focus on yourself and you ignore them, they get more hurt than when you actually pay attention to them. Like that, reverse psychology of kids. So, and she was totally cool later on. She started like telling me nothing, like no problems were happening. She was getting better in class because now she was focusing. she also started being a bit more aware of like how cooked everyone is in her class, how their priorities are broken, and the conversations that their classmates have. And she's, I guess, a little bit more on the like deeper thought, because I've always been more deeper thought individual. I didn't really hang out with a lot of my like peers when I was young, and I can say that from like 11, 12 years old. I like to go outside, play games, ride bikes, swim, stuff like this. But when it came to conversations about what was happening, I would rather talk with adults and learn things from them. So there was that always case scenario where, you have kids that do have that mindset of growth. They want to learn, they want to understand. And I had a conversation with my boss from work, and well, he let me kind of read through it a little bit. Um, because I was explaining to him how some of my students are like today, yesterday I had a student that was very emotionally like, wow. Like he came into class like about to break. He's done this multiple times, about to break down and cry because he had a bad day. Something about him saying something in class, and his teacher was, I guess, gave him the go home disciplined card. And my manager's like, let me see. I have to find the message here. Uh, I told them it was emotional bull riding. That's true. When I get sometimes the kids that like come through with like you look at them like every day they're happy, they're smiling, they want to do some math, and then that one day they come in like about to cry in front of the camera, and you just have to maintain cool, just have to chill, be like, "Hey, how you doing today? How's everything going?" And they go, "I had the worst day ever," and I'm just like, oh man, I get it. I've had bad days too. And then the kid's like, no, I have like literally the end of the world type of day. And I'm like, no, no, don't worry about it. I've thought that too, but look at me, I'm still here. It's not the end of the world. Relax. So I told him, hey, def check the video with today's students. He was super stressed, and um, but I handled being able to get him back into focus because he had some issues. He goes, yeah, his mom said he was very stressed from school. And I told him, yeah, man, it was like emotional bull riding, like trying to get on a bull, trying to emotionally control the chaos. But he was actually, it seemed like he wanted to be there because his mom said, hey, we got to cancel the session. And then he goes, because he's emotionally stressed out, he doesn't feel like going. But then, like 30 minutes before a session, she goes, "Oh, he's better now. He wants to continue with the session." I'm like, "Okay." So just that mere fact tells me he wants to communicate. He wants to be a part of our session because we've had such good experiences. I've always been on like a good form with him. I never criticize my students. I never put them down for anything because in the end, what's the point? You can't put down people for any sort of growth. Growth comes with lessons, not with I don't know what to call it, detrimental backlash. Like you don't do that. You don't do that with students. Mm. So he wanted to be in our session and he came in like that. He just like because I know I've seen him like this too. I've seen him worse. I had a whole session with him just crying. I don't even know what happened that day. But this one session he came in was like already about to like break out the waterfall from his eyes. And we gotta alleviate it towards math, and we're doing some geometry. And I was like, hey, look, emotions can happen. We can get stuck in our heads. We can really think about all the negative things, but as long as you maintain focus, you know, you'll be fine. And he came back into it and we got on the same page. And my dude goes, true, true manager, the person that, helps me with students. He goes, true, true. I feel that a lot of value the moms get from the support side is that there is a human to ask or to talk to. There's a human, right? That's a big key scenario here. There is this huge move to AI. We talk about it on a very, very continuous basis here. This move to AI doesn't include that, everything I just spoke about. And Yeah, friends that are worse than enemies. That's true because that's what happens. Like when a school environment, people pretend to be your friend and they end up doing things that will literally, it feels bad because you feel backstabbed, right? My worst fear is to trust someone, give them every single bit of my energy, only to have them backstab me. Call me a reincarnated Caesar, Roman Empire, right? Caesar. I was gonna say Little Caesar, but that's the pizza place. Call me a reincarnated Caesar with this paranoia of being backstabbed, but I think everyone has that feeling that all the effort and all the attention and all the care you give to someone, you just feel like, what if they backstab me? What if they do something behind my back? What if they do anything to hurt me, even though I've been trying to push them up into the stratosphere, to give them the up um the lifting that they deserve because you love the person, you really care about the people, the friends, the family, your loved ones, your significant other, whatever. And it's always been a particular fear of mine that I can give a lot of my time to somebody and I'll get backstabbed. So I think that's just a general feel for human beings. Maybe it's a modern day thing. Maybe it's this modern day event where everyone's trying to find genuine character. Um, So it turns out that, we're trying to kind of in our Stigme Learning website, which is here, just for the record. This is the website that I teach at. We have a bunch of tutors here. Um, and we have an AI behind it. So there's like an AI that kind of does some pretty dry, straightforward things like tests you, provides problems for you, gives feedback. Then we have a specialized set of tutors, and my guy basically organized two types of students. You've got the motivated ones that can self-guide and work forward with problems. So they can use an AI. They are motivated to get their grades up. They want to actually do the work and they can use an AI. So AI does have a use. But then you have other kids that are having emotional problems, that are struggling to even begin, that are stuck in their head emotionally. And you can't get an AI to help a student like this. You need human character. You need someone that'll bring them back into a path of positivity, of going back into self development, motivation, showing them that they can succeed step by step as you increase the difficulty of things. That's kind of the case. Yeah. Oh, I've been used for exams too. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the case, right? And it's always a usage. The male gets used for a specific case. That's a whole different subject on the spectrum of issues. Um, Males will give themselves to somebody. Keep going, Chad. So the AI does work for specific students, but not for every one of them. And that's where I come in with a lot of specialized education for some students. We actually have a bunch of tutors. I think we had a lot. I think we have a less because I do have a huge roster right now. A huge roster of a lot of students on my daily calendar or weekly calendar. So definitely there is a case use for AI, but it doesn't overcome the human touch of interaction. It just doesn't, no matter what you do. Even if you can try and fool a student that they are a human being as an AI, there's a case of relating to that student that an AI will never be able to do. It can potentially pull stories from different types of ideas and try to like pretend it's relating, but I believe it'll be a little bit flimsy and it won't do any justice to the true way that, human beings connect and communicate. And truly, and I told him, hey man, like, he goes, where is it? Do you see the tutoring sessions for kids also benefiting in a therapeutic way? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And I told him, hey, in my sessions, I can see it be that way. Yeah. I've had like over to 5,000 students. I've inherited because I don't know, there was this one point in my Valencia educating space where I had like this sudden pathetic radar where I felt like something was wrong in the tutoring environment, but I didn't know what it was, but I just felt some emotions. Maybe I caught it on the side of my eye. Maybe I saw someone worried and I kind of noted it without consciously thinking about it. And then I sat next to the student. And this poor kid, he was gay and he had problems with his parents. They wouldn't accept him the way he was. And then his grades were falling because of everything. This kid was going down this just rabbit hole of emotions right there in front of me, like opening up. And that's when I realized, holy crap, I can kind of feel like the students like spaghetti of chaos, of emotional chaos from whatever they can go through. Whether it's a feel, whether it's like a empathetic radar, a signal from the brain wireless frequencies that are floating around, or some sort of like body language recognition. I was able to realize, holy crap, there is this something that's happening to this point where now I can read students in a particular way. But I was able to kind of calm him down, and we went through his session pretty well. That brings up this empathy, this human interaction that we all seek to have and develop over time, but it comes with humans. It doesn't come with machines. You cannot build empathy with a machine. It just doesn't work that way. So I told him, hey, from all the students I've had, I've inherited some type of counseling empathy. Like I'm pretty good when a student comes to me with anyone comes to me with problems and they're like emotionally going through being drained, they feel like messed up. We can go into more deep conversations because I've had so many deep conversations. Yeah, it's a personal guide to peace, of course, because you always just open up with the fact that no one's got it perfect. Yeah. And what you have now and what you think you're going through now, someone's gone through like 50 times worse. That's the problem. And we always want to think that this is probably the worst case scenario for us, but that's just our own heads being our own enemy. We have to kind of consider that we are also in a fight with our own brain chemicals that are constantly dopamining and adrenalining and all these kind of chemicals that are just messing with our emotions on a regular basis. That's a big key scenario. So yeah, I had a couple of students that went through some sort of stresses and emotional breakdowns in our sessions, but I was always able to mend it up and really bring them back on track with a little bit of like a conversation. But robots can't do that. Clankers can't do that kind of stuff. They can't communicate on the same basis. And I told them, hey, all in all, it's all about like old school thinking about a child's growth. The quote that comes to mind: "It takes a village." It takes a village. It doesn't just take one. It doesn't just take me to teach one child how to be all possible cases best of himself. It takes a village. You need to see the fisherman. You need that's chilling in the wild, just enjoying nature and still benefiting from the nature. You have to see the homeless person and learn from the mistakes of what they did to bring themselves to where they are. The lumberjack using every part of it. Like it takes a village to teach a child about life. It doesn't take one person. So no one AI can replace a student's education, a student's experiences in life. And that's kind of where we're falling into a deeper hole where this whole AI push is really putting people down into, or the new generations, putting them down into a hole where it's like a calculator in math. They're just going to use AI for their thinking. That's the problem that I'm really concerned about is they're going to use AI for their thinking and their reading. Because I've heard students go, why do I need to read this? My AI can read it for me. And that raises my blood pressure a little bit. Because, man, if you only knew the benefits of thought. I like to like compare it to like a skinny kid, born skinny. Like maybe not even born skinny. Like, everyone's technically born at a certain weight, right? But imagine some kid grew up thin, skinny. He's running around, having fun. He has the ability to have full mobility in his childhood. And another child that grew up not so capable in mobility. Then you have them class 10, class 11, 12 years old. Now this skinny kid that used to know what it was to run around and ride rollerblades and swim gets to a certain point where maybe he's more fat. He's fatter. Call it that, right? but he can't move as much. He notices breathing is way less. He's hyperventilating because he can't catch his breath just by going up a flight of stairs. Both of them do this at this point, but one kid was at one point skinny, the other one has always been fat. You're going to look at these two kids and consider one important thing. Who's going to understand what it is to come back to that moment where you could still remember, man, I remember when I could go up these flight of stairs and still have my breath. When I could run and swim and I still can't, continue doing it for like a whole hour. And I didn't lose my breath or get tired. That skinny kid from experience has more motivation to go back to being skinny after maybe being extremely fat for whatever reason. McDonald's, you give the events that flourish from that. So that skinny kid is going to go back to being skinny because he remembers what it's like to breathe without hyperventilating, to go up a flight of stairs without like constantly gasping for air, without getting tired every moment they're moving. But the other fat kid, he's never had that experience. He has no motivation to go anywhere else other than stay exactly how he is. And that's really the separating factor between a lot of experiences. You can take the skinny and fat example and bring it onto anything else. Bring it to thinking and not thinking. A child that has critically thought and saw how his ability to think and solve puzzles, games, simulations, all of these games that we play now, I'm seeing them getting dumbed down. Like you see these advertisements on YouTube where you're just like moving these people left and right and you're shooting things and you go to the right and get these extra soldiers and then you go to the left and shoot the zombies or whatever and then you go to the right and you get more soldiers and then you go, what kind of fucking game is that? That has no quality of thought. That's just literally you moving a thumb left and right. We used to call that Pong back in the day. You move the paddle left and right to hit the ball. Now it's over glorified and has all these fancy graphics, and it's still Pong. You're still moving something left and right. Like it's so odd. But if you have a child using AI and then they lose, or maybe they've used it ever since they were a child. I'm seeing a lot of these kids that we're going to go through that actually just depend on their iPad. These kids are growing as babies, as toddlers, and they're like stuck on the iPad. They're talking to Rock or Chat GPT or whatever, and they're not really thinking for themselves. Maybe it helps at a certain level, like maybe to replicate speech, but I really don't think at some point that actually becomes a good thing. So they're getting cooked, and some kids will know what it is to think critically and then be like, wait a minute, I've been using this AI thing and I can't think. My thoughts are foggy. Maybe it's because of AI. And then there might be able to go back and do a little brain training um for that case. And for the record, actually, because we're on the subject, I have a on my Super Scholar XYZ, I have a specific part of my page to train your brain. It's not a fancy website. It's not gonna be all flashy and stuff, but you've got really cool little reading memory, vision span to help you read with your peripherals, increasing your reading speed, calculation. Like I've done so many of those little mobile app games where I'm just constantly like trying to like think faster, like let's see what my score is with like these calculations or my reading speed. I want to improve my reading speed because I got so many things to read, right? And I've used so many of them before they all became like pushed behind a paywall. And I was like, what if I just make a bunch of these and just put them up on the web? So like a Schultz table, typical. You're guiding yourself, trying to use your peripheral visions to basically grab all the values as fast as you can from 1 to 20. This helps with accounting. This is not a counting exercise, but rather a peripheral exercise. So you can judge what, uh, oh, 18, 19. Where things are based on peripheral vision to expand your reading vision. That's it. This is a physical aspect of speed reading where you're not just focusing on a little point that you're reading, but you're expanding that. And you not only read the word in front of you, but read like the next couple of words. Um, Letter matching, letter jumble, word memory. Where's the other one? Word match. This one is the ability to really pin down on differences, on attention to detail. You want to select the words that are actually different. And this is where my you might get this before me because I have a hell of a this is actually specifically for me that I have like this huge level of dyslexia where even though it does look like it's backwards for you, I feel like it's the exact same. That kind of messes me up a lot. So these are the kind of little applications I like to make on my website. Oh, oh, come on. I'm talking and doing this at the same time. There it is. Oh my God, it's the I and the N. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you're free to check them out. You can go to Super Scholar XYZ and then click on the Train Your Brain, and you can access these and play around with. These are just brain training. These are games I used to play 5, 10 years ago that would increase my reading speed from 250 to about 700 words per minute. Math agility, if you will, calculation speed, flash math. I got even Mathy Bird and Tetramatics. Those are experimental. They're not that perfect. I can improve on the quality, but I haven't touched too much of the older ones. Um, oh, this one's great also. Even number search. You're looking for a number that ends in the even, and this is where you also use your peripheral visions to expand forward thought and not get stuck in a tunnel vision. So you're able to essentially select, uh-oh, uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Etc. You get the point, right? Plenty of these little games I have. If you go to superscholar.xyz, you just go to the top left. Train your brain. Not even of a cost there. You just go there, you start playing, you start doing some. You can do it on the phone too. They should be pretty mobile friendly. I haven't optimized that on the code base to be mobile friendly, but feel free to do it. Like this is there. These are the things that we need to kind of do on a regular. Like instead of going to the toilet and playing Candy Crush, try a couple of these games out. Take a 5 minute toilet break, do your thing, sit down, chill. Like we used to do this thing. We had magazines next to the toilet before the phones were created. Why? Well, because we need to do something. We're just human beings. We can't just stare at the tiles the whole time, right? But this is a perfect case where we've replaced our toilet sessions with like scrolling walls. Stop doing that. I do it too sometimes. Stop scrolling walls on the toilet. Consider a possible alternative just to train your brain a little bit and play around with these applications. Maybe it's a math case that you need to work on. Math Rain. That's actually one of my favorite. You're essentially calculating. You're trying to figure out all of your typical calculations. And then what happens when this goes to the bottom? It starts getting filled. It's not fancy. It's not crazy intense. Right. Sudoku puzzles. Like that's one of those. Crossword, Sudoku puzzles. All of these types of things that we really take for granted, they really beef up the way that our brain thinks. So, keep that in mind. There's a lot of places, and I'm making my own little train your brain game space. But there's a lot of places you can basically like expand and start to replace habitual scrolling and bad habits. Start to like cater a little more to the brain neurons. You have to start using it because, especially for kids, they're still growing and they are literally being they're being spawn camped by AI. They're being spawn camped. These poor kids are supposed to start leveling up, getting a tutorial to be able to survive life, and then they get given this phone that basically does everything for them and they learn nothing. These kids are going to grow up 10, 11, 12, and they're not going to know where they are or what's going on. And that's kind of what's happening here. All right, I've babbled enough about this. I can kind of talk about this all day, right? But let's kind of keep going here. I can't believe they know.
Another student said
Oh,
the 1920 stock market crash. One of my ninth graders said,
bro.
I'm surprised they knew what that was. And of course,
I'm surprised they knew what it was.
And one student said, bro looks like he works on y'all street.
Bro looks like he works on y'all street. That kid's got a future. Even when the Jet Alpha
That's Wall Street. Y'all Street. That's clever.
try to roast you.
Like, respect on the roast. Every kid's gonna roast. Respect on the roast. I appreciate the hustle. I'm not like a strict teacher that's gonna be like, oh, I should pay attention. Da da da. You're being a goofball. Like sometimes maybe I'll be like, oh, you're being a goofball. We need to focus in. Your parents are paying for this session. I'll give you a moment to let it out of your system, but we got to get back into focus, right? So I'll do that, but I'm not gonna get offended by it. I think it's clever when a kid knows how to troll effectively. Perfect. Perfect. But they got to know how to do it effectively, not just do it because they saw something online and they regurgitate it.
You still don't know how to speak English. So they're feel about as well as entering a dream contest, and your opponent is Martin Luther
Bro,
King.
where did you get these? I got them from Academy. Where?
What does that mean?
Bro, I got them from Academy. Are you trying to say Academy right now? If I were born, I want to be white. Bro, or born. Oh yeah. You're right.
Me who I have to be reminded that I was born. If I wasn't born, that would really
I was
change
born.
how I think about abortion. I'm currently not born, and I could get aborted.
Did you just on spring break? No, actually, we did. I didn't think about you a single time. Fab. What? That's a fab. You're fabby. What does that even mean?
How does that even mean?
Like lying.
It's a fib.
Are you trying to say fibbing?
You're right. Oh my god. Nice. What year?
Almost crazy term to use.
Almost more sense.
There's actually more people today than any other point in history. The students said, I feel like that we truly know about it. I said, we do know about it. That's why I just told you that. And they said, why don't we just bomb them? Bomb the slaves?
What?
And they said that's not what they meant. And then did not clarify. Anyways, I don't see a Nobel Peace Prize in that kid's future.
A young messenger, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you. Your
Yikes.
politicians.
What language do Italians and their friends think Spanish?
It's a Latin base, but
What did Abraham sound like? I said, I don't know. And they said, well, can you play a video of him speaking? I don't know what the context of this was during this dismissal. I heard him say, why is December transgender?
what?
As in the month. I asked
The month.
Lincoln, and one of my students said, some guy with a mustache. And then a bunch of people looked at me. And it wasn't me.
Bro, this guy definitely killed him. And if he didn't, he totally
During dismissal, I heard students say, if you wait for your food, you become the
Like, to comment, Tron, yeah. The worst part is that there will still be some AI enthusiasts selling. That's how they make money. That's the problem. I get this as well as an educator online in the YouTube space. Again, my passion is that I can teach and speak to more than one person per typical hour. So when I get the case for like a one-to-one session with a student, that 1 hour is for them specifically. So they're the ones benefiting from the growth. But when I do it in the broader space of YouTube, it's like I can benefit almost infinitely amount of people. And, given that the content is well crafted and I'm trying to work on that, and it's, valuable for an individual, more people can be affected in a positive way from the content, just like that one student. So I benefit personally by helping more people at one time. And then I had somebody come in and say, are you a mentor? No. Are you a life mentor or something? And I'm thinking to myself, like, what does that mean? But then I thought a little further about the life mentor statement. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people life mentoring. That's such a broad concept that you're like, what? You can kind of fit that into anything. So people are trying to constantly make money off of stuff like the AI enthusiasts selling AI courses when you can find that content online for free and it's not slopified behind AI and it's been thought out and processed. And it really depends on the person teaching. If you can convert complex ideas into simple language for anyone to understand, that's the benefit of being a good teacher. I can explain complex math to 6th, 7th, 8th graders, starting with small, simplistic ideas they already understand, and then building on top of it. A new idea and a new idea, and it keeps building up. But the stuff I've seen for most of these mentors and educators and enthusiasts is they just kind of like, oh, you need this software. This is how you install it. You need to set up the server. You point to your IP address. They don't explain what an IP is. They don't explain what a server is. They don't explain the process that's happening behind. So all of that is still like magic to the main user. All these things are they're just given instructions on how to do it, but they don't actually explain why you're doing the thing you're doing, right? And that kind of like caught my eye, this whole like, are you a life mentor? I'm like, no, I'm an educator. I teach mathematics, but yeah, I guess because isn't math life? Isn't math a part of our life? So life mentoring, math, and science because that's a part of life. But I'm not over here trying to sell you a tea and tea leaves and snake oil, right? I'm like I'm not here to like help you invest in the next big stock. Like life mentor is such a generic term, but that's kind of like the legality of things. A lot of people need specific degrees to be able to teach. They don't contain those degrees. You can't make things educational without specific certifications. So, in a way, calling yourself a life mentor is just a way to go around the legality of things. It's like putting content up for entertainment, right? You're putting up content for entertainment. I don't even know about gurus anymore. Even the word guru has a weird twist on the meaning now. You know, like I totally get the nirvana concept, right? Yeah, the actual gurus back that we considered gurus 100 years ago, 100% prefer that. But now everyone's a stock guru or a life guru or something or other, stress guru or a habit guru. Like everyone's putting guru behind their name now that basically it's like, what does it even mean? Like we're just getting desensitized to that word. When the guru case scenario comes from like monks who have lived in the mountains of the Himalayas for like all of their life, and they understand a type of life outside of what we as a city folk understand. So like that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean, I kind of fall into that category too. Like I'm an educator. I like to consider myself a mentor because the way I think of mentorship is back in like medieval times, you have kings, queens, and all of these high stakes landlords and all of these landowners, whatever. They would have a mentor for their children, a specific scholar. They'd get some scholar, and they would have that scholar be a part of their child's life throughout their development. They would teach them mathematics, they would teach them geography, they would teach like this mentor that used to be back in medieval days was the child's gateway to success. Because as a mentor, you enlighten your child on information that they don't know. And like I mentioned before, when I have the kids that are emotionally going joining my session about to cry because they had a bad day at school, it takes a village to teach a child the full set of experiences that helps them develop into not only awareness of how life is really difficult and not meant to be a cool, nice place to exist in, because we're all living with iPads and electricity. But we used to live with the bears. We used to fight for caves to wither the storm. We used to rub sticks together to make fire. Like that's life. Like we're so like detrimentally fixated on what life is to us now. What happens when all of that's gone? Look at the Hormuz Strait. Look at all this issue with energy. What happens when all of a sudden something breaks in our system of convenience and we're all forced to go back down to the basics? I think a lot of people will not be able to survive that sort of situation because we're all expecting life to be go to the grocery store, buy your stuff. Everything will always be in stock. We're not prepared. We don't know how to grow things. We don't know how to maintain life beyond what's given to us through the conveniences of modern life. That's why I really like living like on a farm. If I could, I would buy myself like a cabin in the woods up on a mountain with a Starlink connection and some solar panels. And that's it. And you'll never see me. Well, you will see me again. I'll be streaming probably. But but I would be in a completely different situation because I feel like that would push me to a next level of, you know, one, peace. Two, puts me in an uncomfortable situation. It puts me back to a very close frame of what life is on its basic terms. And it puts me to consider that what I have learned growing up is not really beneficial in real life, but rather more in modern life. Modern life has made everything so much softer for us. And I want to experience that sort of struggle with the conveniences of an internet connection. That'd be cool. You know, but I want to raise chickens. I want to take care of cows. I hate the fact, like, I probably will not kill or slaughter any of them because I've been under the situation when my grandma wanted to pull some chickens, and I was there and I held the chicken down and I didn't like it at all. So I'm gonna accept the eggs and the milk. That's all I need. The eggs, the milk, and I'll probably get some goat milk too, because that stuff is really healthy for you. But you probably won't catch me doing any sort of culling of any animals. I'll just be basically raising them and chilling with the animals. You can call me the Snow White of the of the mountain, the male Snow White of the mountains. But that's kind of why I would like, if I had a preference on how I live, it would be far away from the city, man. I have lived so much time in the city. I've experienced its stresses and its rat race, and the time that you lose in the city just kind of like fast forwards, man. Your whole life just flashes before your eyes. Even it gets worse when you're stressed because you just want every day to be done. So you're going to work, 8 hours, gone. You come back, want to relax, you watch TV, gone. You want to make some food, gone. You go to sleep, next day, back at it again. Like that continuous cycle just really is detrimental. And it put me on a case of mentality where I felt like I was a prisoner in my own house. You're paying the rent every time, and all the money went to rent. If I wanted internet, that's an extra bill. If I wanted, and I try to maintain and try to expand my abilities online so I can teach online because I really wanted to travel and work. And that was kind of my gateway, was to be able to teach online. So I couldn't even do that because I had UCF and Valencia, two jobs at once, taking up like 40 to 50 hours of my week. And I would be exhausted and I'd have to drive from one job to another for an hour commute in between. Never mind the fact that UCF is an overgrown, god-awful campus. So I had to like take another hour to walk from the faculty parking garage that was at the back of the whole school just to get to the classroom I was supposed to take my session, my work hours at for like 4 or 5 hours. Then I go back home and I'm exhausted from traveling and moving and teaching and walking around all day. And then I go to bed and it starts all over again. That's just the reality of things, right? So we're so accustomed to this softened form of existence that we don't necessarily appreciate the more difficult parts of life. Anyway, new generations will not understand this.
Waiter. Their friend was silent for a little bit and then said, "How do you know your food's weight?"
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I don't know what the context of this was. It was during dismissal. I heard a student say, "Why is December transgender?"
Oh, this.
As in the month. I asked my students who killed Lincoln, and one of my students said, "I don't know, some guy with a mustache." And then a bunch of people looked at me. And I
Bro, this guy definitely killed. And if he did,
Oh my God. Okay.
during dismissal, I heard one say, "If you wait for your food, you become the waiter." Their friend was silent for a little bit and then said, "How do you know your food's weight?"
Okay, not gonna lie, that one hurt my brain.
It's just clever. Okay, these are kind of clever cases. I don't like this video too much. I saw a previous one that really caught my eye. Oh wow, yeah, Jane Beta. We're going back to B.
Stack the stakes. Okay, you remember stack. Pokemon Go. Wow, like Pokemon Go was the closest thing we got to peace. Okay, everybody walking outside the shared goal.
That's true. Friggin' Pokemon Go, dude.
It seems like simpler times. Perhaps saddest of all, institutions have legitimized this. They've gotten rid of all the McDonald places. I used to have so much fun in. Those things, I would get lost in the slides. That's how deep I went if I couldn't find my way out.
Yeah, I remember those days, kind of.
Now, this is the McDonald's playground.
Look at this. Look at this is the playground. They removed the tubes of adventure and getting lost and fear. And you know, as a kid, you get lost in those tubes and you go crazy. You're like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? They removed those tubes and now it's just a giant screen. How flattering.
Are you why even going to make you have an iPad at home? In your fridge.
And in your fridge.
My fellow future
Oh man.
Alpha parents, Gen X parents, if you're watching, have your kids experience real things with real people. Don't make it all screen. Don't make it all digital. That way their minds won't be fake. Their minds will be shaped towards real experiences in the real world, not towards algorithm. Might it be hard? Yeah. Being the only parents who do this.
Not to raise an iPad kid. Yeah.
But once one person does, others will too. And we're already seeing that happen. What's on the line is your kid's soul, your kid's person. Some of the young alpha kids I met, they don't have any opinions. They don't have any feelings about besides whether or not they're getting their because they're so used to being catered to. The algorithm chooses what they see. They don't even have to what they watch next, at least on YouTube. You have to choose what video interests TikTok.
Yeah.
Outsource your thinking to the algorithm that tells you what you'll be watching next.
All right, I want to show this game real quick since you're chilling in here. Check this out. I don't know if you've ever seen The Incredible Machine. This is the type of stuff that I grew up on. I remember North Carolina, 7th grade, computer lab, and this game. Amazing game. This is like the old classical version. It's like those YouTube videos where you just have things happen one after another. Magnifying glass, a light bulb that turns on a candle, then this little thing, conveyor belt moves over and hits the balloon, the mouse drops, and there's this constant thing, right? So this game that I want to play later is intense because it's a puzzle solver. But for me personally, it's also nostalgia. But this game is so good that like I'm playing it now and I want to like work around that. Ah, that's awesome, dude. Only things that get in the house are Wi-Fi, electricity, cables. Like that's the basis. That's the basis. You just need Wi-Fi, electricity, get your own toilet if you really need to, especially in the wilderness. But those are like the main emphasis of modern tech. Wi-Fi, technology, wireless signals, and electricity. From there, you can kind of expand to whatever you want, but everything else beyond that, tablets on a fridge, please, like you don't need any of that. So I'm gonna play this later because I really want to do a little bit nostalgia, but this game, so good. Contraption Maker. Someone I guess remade it in the what is it, successor to the Incredible Machine from its original designer and programmer. Oh, no kidding. Oh, no kidding. This is the original designer and programmer? Oh, that's so good. I love it. I love this. There's more? Oh, he's getting real creative now. Battle cards. Right. Well, I'm only doing the first one for now. But this is the kind of games that we used to play. There it is. Where it's more of a puzzle. Love these games. Look at this stuff. Oh, hold on. Why isn't it? Audio's in the wrong side. Ah, so much nostalgia in this. You set the conditions for winning. You can make your own custom puzzles. And you do have like the basics. Oh god, look at this. That's insane. What? That's insane. Yes. Of that guy that made the game that used to play in physics lab.
Or head over to the Maker Lab, where you create your own puzzles and contraptions, either alone or cooperatively with your friends. Then upload your creation to the Steam Workshop to share it
Oh,
with the community.
that's sick.
Contraption Maker, available now on Steam.
Yeah, look at that old school game, man. Pixels! Such pixels! Ah. Yep. Anyway, I'm gonna play that later because that game is so good. I miss it. I played a little bit to get through the tutorial easy parts so I can get to the more difficult ones, but that's gonna be a thing I'm gonna play in a bit after this video. Hmm. Wait, hold on. Didn't I change this?
Dictates your life. So of course the
Oh yeah, we have to start somewhere else.
Parents their kids ride their fake bike in front of a recording of someone actually riding a real bike.
This is what's up, man.
Are you
This
kidding?
is
This is like going to
simulated environment. Can you imagine?
this mom motivates her kid to run in place by telling him the more he runs, the more it'll charge his iPad.
It's,
It's so bad.
I mean, that's clever.
What it means to go on a bike ride. They're too young for Stranger Things. They're too young for toys. Look at what these kids said when their
Oh,
teacher
Toy Story, man.
24-year-old second grade teacher. I'm pretty young in the teaching. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that has made me feel older as a teacher. And today, when I was watching Toy Story 2 during lunch with one of my second graders, and we got to see in the movie, where the little newspaper boy rides around on his bike and throws newspapers on the front of the house. And one of the little girls watching turned around to me and said, Miss, if a little boy ever threw trash like that at my house, I would yell at them.
That's a newspaper.
That's not trash, it's a newspaper. And they said, what's a newspaper?
That's just the generational adjustment. That's fine. We don't have those really, so how do you expect them to know? You know, it's a newspaper. You got the internet now. Some parents be real clever though. That's clever. Or I hope she doesn't drop them though.
That's creating actually a good memory for their look. The Gen
Yeah.
kids are so motivated they won't even care if there's anything on their screen. They just care that it's colorful and it stimulates. It's firing their neurons. This almost Gen Beta iPad is broken because he just throws. He doesn't have any respect for his iPad. And he doesn't even notice it's broken. He just sees that there's colors on it, and that's enough for him.
What happened to your iPad? What happened? What happened to the iPad? No, let's figure it out. What the hell, Leonte, did you do to the iPad? This is iPad.
Look how many phones this kid has. Screens. He's got 2 screens open. That's overstimulation, dude.
iPad when he doesn't even care when one of them is broken. Kids don't get iPads falling in the sky like heaven. Parents are responsible. They need to stop giving their 8.
Like Gen Alpha might be decently cooked, but Gen Beta is being currently cooked as we speak. That's the big problem. Huge problem. Let me kind of get an idea of like this generation alpha, millennial, etc timeline. Even I get confused by what they're considering each one of these values, right? Let me get a timeline. There it is. So somebody decided to basically name these conventions in a format. Silent generation, very old people. Baby boomers, what are they? They're about like in their 80s. 60s to 80s. That's where they're at ranged wise. Silent generation are basically gone and or very old. Generation X millennials, Generation Z, and Generation Alpha. 213 to 220s. Zoomers, Generation Z. Millennials, Generation Y. So millennials do have a big responsibility here. I feel like we as millennials were cooked, or we have been the ones cooking our kids. It's always a case of like, we want our kids to experience something better than what we experienced. But our perception of what is better per the case of life experience versus what they want to do, which is stare at broken colors on an iPad, vivid, dopamine releasing colors. I think my generation, the millennials, really made a disservice to the future. Like, I wouldn't say every single one, but I'll say a very good majority of my generation have no idea what they're doing. And I can see this through the fact that a lot of people losing their jobs are millennials now. Given that it is an economic issue and that AI is replacing people, fine. But as a corporation, you're gonna let loose the specific strings that are less weight on your company. They don't weigh as much on your company. If they decided to remove a lot of millennials, that's a case for that. You can see a lot of gaming companies firing a bunch of people for that case scenario. So like, man, we kind of, I'd say, because my mom was Generation X, she wanted good for me. So well, look how they changed the timeline now. Like the generations are getting closer and closer. So this is a 7 year difference. This one's 15-year difference. This one's a 15-year difference. This one's a 15-year difference. This one's okay, 15. Mid-20s. All right. So they're kind of doing like every 15 years. That's kind of the generational splice. Man, to be in the lost generation or the greatest generation. Can you imagine calling yourself the greatest generation? Jeez, man. Relax, bruh. Relax, bruh. But they ain't here no more. So there's a very odd consequence of previous generations, and this is where a big quote comes in. Um, Strong men make good times. You maybe heard of this one. There it is. Tough times create strong men. This is just nature at its purest. Strong men create easy times because we overcome the elements that are against us. Easy times create weak men, the cycle of convenience and comfort. This is where we kind of are really going like escalating into. I wouldn't say easy times right now, but we've created and I would say not just weak men, we can consider a really weak population. So the easy times I'd say were in like the 90s, essentially. Like everyone always references the 90s for like that peak civilization culture. Now we're at the weak men about to create tough times. We're right here. We're about to go through some tough times, which will create strong people again. You have to raise warriors, not parasites. We're basically at parasites. Everyone is like, you look at everything happening on the news when it comes to like California, um, social services, um, oh God, there's so many places that basically are people abusing social services and gaining money for having hospices, for having um adult daycares. That's a thing. Apparently, adults need daycares. There's just these healthcare based systems where people are just leeching off of the government, parasites all over our social services. And that's where we really are. People are making a living leeching off of social services and taxpayers. So that's where we are now. But that's kind of what happens over the time. It's just a human cycle, unfortunately.
Eighth iPad when they're five. Why is this mother essentially giving her credit card to buy Sephora makeup with and putting her into debt with Skibbit?
My daughter walking into Sephora like she doesn't have negative $1.43 on her Brainrot card.
Special theory of relativity. Yeah, relativity, the related factor of what you see currently and how the things affect you in this relative space versus what it was relatively back in the day. I mean, this works in base cases of culture, not just like if you're moving on a train and you put a ball in the air, it's going to move with the train. It can also work in the cultural sense.
Surprise! At this point, that your grandfather can dying in front of you, and you want to get your iPad charged for Roblox.
Charger.
This is starting for Gen Beta. Okay,
I think that's not real.
Gen Beta missed every. Okay.
Oh,
And this is not a future problem. Gen Beta is already screen.
iPad.
oh no, oh no. That's how you train them too.
They've been alive for like 3 days. When I was a kid, coolest thing you could have in your backyard was a trampoline. Everyone would close their eyes and you tag in the dark. When you're real little, you play with the hose in the backyard, concentration, duck goose. Maybe you're older, truth or dare, as cringe as it seems. But those are still, quintessential cringe memories. Gen Beta will be by themselves in a corner, wishing for the halcyon days of lockdown. When they hear past generations played among us, and even though that was on screen, at least there were other people. Have you seen those TikToks?
Yeah.
People are like, if you pitch the concept of a library today, people would say that's socialism. Never get past.
You expect me to pay for somebody else's book, library, lib. It's literally liberal goddamn name.
No way, dude. Did he just connect library with liberal? How do you connect library with liberal? That's ridiculous.
Okay. Gen Beta doesn't even know what a library is.
There were also other teachers who said that they had to explain what a library was to their students because they didn't know what a library was.
What the hell? Oh my God!
I know Gen Beta is literally 4 seconds old, but even the really young Gen Alphas who are basically Gen Beta, they don't know what a library is. It's so sad as the kids
That's true though. Hold on. Halo, what? I've seen her before too. She yells a bit. She's very loud, but she does have some good points. Let me see which one. Dystopian Nightmare, Coddling Epidemic, Modern Life Needs Studied. Yeah, dude. We're going through a time in our lives where we don't even understand what is actually happening to the development of human beings that are just growing into it. Stupid AI Fruit Island. Nobody talk to each other normally anymore. Normal parenting is abuse. Hold on. Something based on reading. She also had a reading case too. And this is the one I saw. This one's crazy.
We are in crisis mode in American school.
It is a terrifying thought when you realize that Gen Z
That's
is
2
the
years ago.
very last generation to have lived a normal childhood without iPads or without iPhones. Because that's never going to happen ever again. And I think everyone knew that it was going to be bad to have a new generation of humans being raised on technology. But I don't think we understand how bad it's actually going to get. And the reason I say this is because there are more and more teachers coming out every single day to say that Gen Alpha is impossible.
iPad kids are poorly behaved. Teachers explain their concerns over how Gen Alpha students are behaving in class. Students are unteachable. Teachers warn that horrible parenting has rendered Gen. This is also the problem too. It's like they're coddling the kids so much, even if the kid acts up in school. I remember when I acted up in school. Man, detention. Your parents are mad at you. You got everything taken away. You can't go outside. You're locked up in your room for the weekend because you messed up and you said something during class or you got pissed off or whatever that you may have done to interrupt the class session. That's how it used to be. And I had it light. You had private schools get kids getting hit with a ruler. Talk about abuse for the discipline. But now it's like a kid acts up in school and the parent is automatically defending the student, the kid, and not even caring about the teacher's perspective. Can we do body cams in classes? Can we do body cams in teacher classes? I think we're gonna need that. I think we need some body cams because we got the body cams on the police force, and that's kind of helped out, right? Now we need body cams on the teachers.
To teach.
But I don't understand why they not stressing how bad it is. Like I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are.
Yeah, you're right. They would have scrolled past 50 TikToks by now, and also ran around. Actually, they don't run. Rolled around.
Now I can completely understand that there are going to be some children out there who have a harder time trying to learn, or who learn just a little bit slower than the rest of their peers. But when you have entire classrooms full of these kids, or better yet, multiple schools across the country,
That's crazy.
kids just like this, that's That's an issue. And
Yeah,
these
a little bit.
teachers are saying that these kids are stuck in the fourth grade. That they've been in the fourth grade since the fourth grade.
You the teacher. You supposed to be again sheeping on the fourth grade level since the fourth grade. We in seventh grade now, so you let the child go 3 years. You never knew that your child was still in the fourth grade. Never left the
Yeah, dude. You're the teacher. You're supposed to what?
fourth grade is Vietnam. I still have kids performing grade K, 1, 2, and grade level.
They're not
That's
retaining
crazy.
any of this education. It's just going in one ear and right out the other. And what makes this video even more disturbing is the fact that this teacher says that he can count the amount of students actually performing to their grade level on one hand.
I could probably count
That's a lot of kids that
how many kids are
you have in one.
grade level. So just imagine, you don't know that your child been on the second grade level since the second grade, and they now in the seventh or eighth grade. Are you joking right now? And these are future doctors, nurses.
Oh, yeah. That's the scary part. These kids are going to become the future doctors, future bankers, financial advisors. Buy Dogecoin, guys. That's going to be the future. Oh, if you need something, if you feel sick, here's a couple of pills. Easy, easy money. Like idiocracy is seriously becoming it's becoming almost a guarantee at this point. I feel like it's getting a little bit extra.
But it gets worse as the bar just gets lower and lower. Because there was another teacher who stitched that original video and said she also teaches seventh graders. But they're not performing on the level of a fourth grader. They're performing on the level of a second grader.
Because I also teach seventh grade kids that have math grade level equivalents of first and second grade, third grade, many at fourth grade, very few at grade level, very few. If any, in some classes.
Wow.
These age groups should not be performing on the same level.
Seventh graders performing at seventh graders? Oh, that's hard to hear. Oh, man, reading is a bummer, huh? Just in his experiment, do ask your student if any of them have interest in tech. What do you mean? Like, you ask them what tech is? Like, what do you think tech is? Or do you like tech? What do you think is going to happen? That's a curious question. Easy IQ test? Let them explain what tech is for them. I mean, for them, probably an iPad. I don't know what else they think about, you know? I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Are they going to go about talking? Yeah, I love my iPad on my fridge. I can watch TikTok everywhere.
These kids can't read. They can't decode. They've no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like my fifth graders with significant language.
Dude, she's got the white strip right there. This white strip right there. I'm developing this somewhere as well. Where's my white strip? It's somewhere here. Yeah, I can't see it. Can barely see it here. The lighting's so good you can barely see it, but I just got this like huge streak of white. I'm totally cool with that white streak. I'm not dyeing my hair for nothing. I'm gonna keep my natural look, thank you very much, and I'm enjoying the white streak. Salt and pepper time.
Based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled seventh graders now. They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is. And this was the case last year. They can't take notes. They can't even attend to a video. They can't even attend to a 3-minute video clip.
I'm hearing that what we used to have as a day off by watching Bill Nye, the Science Guy, or like some sort of historic History Channel video in class as like downtime. Like we maybe got all our work done, we just had a test, and we got an extra day before spring break, right? Pop in that video. All of us in class would just watch it, be so happy that we don't have to do math or don't have to do anything at that point in time. We just had to literally just sit there and watch a video and learn something completely different, which is great. Now, video movie time in the classroom is you put on a movie or a History Channel thing or whatever, and everyone gets on their phones and just starts click clacking and talking to their friends or going through TikTok or going through this and like there's maybe I heard maybe 3 or 4 out of 30 students are actually paying attention to the video. That's movie time in class now. That's movie time. Internet and codes or something like that. Genius spotted if they don't seem like surprised. Uh-huh. Ah, yeah, okay, I see your point. They have like so there's like a case of like understanding. Maybe they'll say AI because they like to use it to do the problems for them. I've had students with that. Um, maybe internet and coding. That can be a good response, but I wouldn't think that the students know so much about code. There's some of them that do. I have one of my students, Leopard guy. We collaborate from time to time. I taught him a little bit about code. It wasn't too extensive. I just introduced him to what coding is. He understand. He actually made a video on it and even regurgitated the Visual Studio Code platform where you can actually code, which is pretty cool. He remembered that, so he has interest in it. It's a bit more complex for him to understand right now because there is a level of mathematics that you have to really conceptualize. It's really the variables and the functions part, not the math of a variable and a function, but what they symbolically represent. A piece of storage and an instruction of code that you repeat through a function. And we're going through a lot of mathematics now, so the main focus is math for him. But he did download a lot in his brain, especially when it came to like being a YouTuber. Man, that kid is when he wants to learn something, he learns it. He learned editing with DaVinci. He learned modifying and editing images with GIMP. Um, he has gotten much better at actually editing his videos and having a good flow to it. And he had just a huge interest in being a YouTuber. That's kind of the thing too, right? Every kid nowadays wants to be a YouTuber. So you can check out Mr. Leopard guy. He does a lot of like Minecraft and movie reviews. He's still in his early stages developing his expansion into the world, but I think he's doing great for his beginnings. But he has improved dramatically. He has a focus on something he has a passion for, which drives his focus to keep going. And that's really what you try as a teacher to give to students. You try to direct it to maybe programming and coding when you can show, hey, look what this piece of code can do for you, right? Like for me, it's always been a case of I learned how to code in college. But I learned how to code a little database where you have a couple of customers and you have to manage each no, customer and an employee, and your employees are working shifts, and you have to manage and figure out how basically POS system with C++, a mini you were trying to learn the concepts behind it, but I never programmed any tools that would actually be feasible for me to say, wow, I'm glad I made that. It's improved the way I do things. Not until after college did I actually make stuff like this. So when a student doesn't see the benefits of what they're doing, like programming, creating applications, especially when I was doing this in college, I didn't get a passion for coding until I left college and I learned PHP and I started making my own web servers and people's websites and creating logins and managing actual human beings that exist in the real world, managing their website. And I was like, wow, I did the MySQL connection with the PHP code, and now my new client can log into his website. But before, and of course, an interface, HTML, using things that actually create a user interface made things so much better. But in college, you don't even use a user interface. Use the black box with a terminal. That's it. Black box with a terminal. And that's the most you get to see. You can fancify it with some ASCII text and like asterisk box and your name at the top with the project underneath, make some fancy print statements or whatever. But that wasn't, what are you going to do with that project in the future, right? That just didn't give me a type of tangibility where I can say, wow, I'm so glad I made this. It has benefited my life. Now with AI, it's even crazier. You see all these things in the background. And my little background here, I don't know if I'm doing, no, other side here. In the background here, all these little waves. You want to see some more? Want to see all the things I've programmed with AI? Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Still a little bit of here, right? They've got this. This is one of the first things I did manually was create a particle system that connects when they're a certain distance away to show networking. I've always been a fan of helping small business connect. I feel like when these lines, if you think about it symbolically, if you have too many of these lines connected from much further away, it gets messier and messier. When you're doing business, I think the better case is to have smaller groups working together and then connecting each one through small channels. Like you don't want one business to connect to everything. Then it just gets messy. But this is kind of like my symbolic beginnings of attempting to give people the ability to have my skill sets to make a website. This is where it all started with this little manual little particle system. Then we got, oh, hello, some random stuff that I like to graphically adjust. This thing runs in the background and gets a bunch of circles happening. But this is more like a rain. Like imagine it like rain. Very calming, very chill. Just a bunch of circles, expanding, visually appeasing, looks pretty sick. Maybe too many circles. Uh oh. I refreshed the chat by accident. Yes, perfect analogy. I accidentally refreshed chat. Sorry, when you message again, it'll come back. Then we've got the sine waves, trigonometry. Ever thought about trig being in your graphical design class? Probably not. All of these are sine cosine waves moving at a particular time value, date time, and all kind of overlaid with some colors and like the pastel of RGB. Love it. Then this is kind of again a little bit of like a dysfunctional, not dysfunctional, like a disformed sine wave. Just basically backgrounds like this, I think help. Well, I definitely know help a lot of my students focus. Having this in the background while we're actually doing like the main session that you saw, like a regular screen. Like, of course, instead of like having me do videos, this is my setup. Like, except this would be my whiteboard to all my teaching sessions. I'll probably set that up just so you can see it. And then the background is just some nice little graphics that keeps my students' attention, especially in the case of like ADD, ADHD. It just gives it a little bit of an extra flow, and all of that's just pure code. That's it. Yeah, this is like when I first started coding, I wouldn't be able to see something like this and be like, "Wow, this is pretty cool. I can keep doing this." You know, you don't really get the benefit of a tool that you create by hand until you truly start to like see the outcome become something like this. Like, wow, that's pretty. And this is math and code, right? Like, hello, holy crap, math and code combined gives you this nice little feel. It's completely generated by code and math. There's not going to be a repeating factor in the screen. This is how like all the generated games and mazes nowadays, they all feel unique and different when you play them because all of them are basically just generated by code. So here's kind of like my setup that I would normally do. Bam. Got a calculator, got a whiteboard. Is my last student doing some, what were we doing? Oh, speaking of cosine and sine, we were doing some trigonometry over here. This is what my last session was last night. Left it on that same space. And then you have a background that kind of keeps your eye focused, your peripherals satisfied while we're doing something as bland as learning about science. And hey, did you know the background is sine waves? And like, wow, well, look at that. We're doing math on paper and we're surrounded by math in the background. So that's really the kind of key that I really like to play with is that not only does it show what all of this can do. Oh, someone left because of the math. Of course they would. Of course they would. Then I got this. A little fancy for the extra ADHD kids. For the ones that like little sparkles and a bunch of stuff moving around. This can kind of get loud sometimes, though. What else I got? Ah, yes. For some gaming, intense gaming. Sometimes I have that going. Couple of waves. And this is all with the help of AI, of course. Is that the... Yeah, the skips. Rock skipping. It's kind of a basic cartoony looking thing. One of the first ones I was playing with, small sine waves in the back, a little bit of cloud movement in the back. And that's not all, really. Like, there's so many more that I haven't added to my current setup. I like this one. I think I should shut down sources when they're not visible. I probably say, maybe that's why I crashed. Yeah, yeah. That's the problem too. The syllabus is not custom tailored to the class. It's custom tailored to the standards that we're supposed to follow based on the educational system. And that causes a huge mismatch, huge mismatch of students being able to really adapt, expand on their skill sets. And in the end, it really does break it down to a point where they're gonna fall behind at some point. It's guaranteed that your students will fall behind under a generalized cookie cutter syllabus. It's guaranteed. No doubt about it. Someone will fall behind. Many will fall behind. The problem is there's so many kids now that are not so motivated to actually learn and maintain focus that as soon as they see something bland or boring, bam, good game, it's over. They're not going to pay attention. They're going to fall behind, and then they're going to gather with the other kids that are also fall behind, and they're going to talk about how pointless everything is. And now they're self-motivating perpetual cycle, echo chamber of how they don't think any of this has any points to it. This whole process of education is pointless. And then what? Then you have a whole cycle of just apathy. No one wants to do anything. No one wants to learn. They're all talking, goofing off in the back of the class. They're disrespecting teachers, and it just really becomes that in the end. It becomes a perpetual cycle of students motivating students to not care. And that's where we get these sort of huge issues in the education environment.
I can play it. I can tell them what it's going to be about. I can summarize what the video did, and not a single one can tell me what the video was about.
Now, in this video, that will not be the first, nor the last time that you guys will hear these teachers warning people of the fact that these kids can't read, they can't write, they don't have a vocabulary. I can't even say I'm shocked at the fact that these kids don't really have a great vocabulary when all of them are using terms like skibidi or gyat.
Oh God. Oh God.
What is a yacht? What on earth?
Sorry. What?
A yacht?
So a yacht? It stands for your booty thick. It's like basically if you yell what shoots when you yell at somebody.
Why do these kids know these things? Hold on. Did that kid just say BBL? And they're like under 9? Yo, they be learning some crap from these Roblox. Oh my God, that's such a shocker that these kids are actually speaking like this. That's the problem is they got all these acronyms that they create for themselves. Girl, your A is thick. Referencing BBL. Referencing just words that are not supposed to be said by them. And when the adults don't know what they are, they can get away with saying it and describing it and working with those words. Oh my God. They get away with it too. I mean, kids are going to be kids, yeah. But becoming a part of your regular language, my little sister says that.
Whatever that's supposed to
Yeah.
mean. And it's
I don't know if she still does.
It is getting so bad to the point where this has said that he has had to dumb his curriculum down for his students because they are not processing the information on their grade level. So he has no other choice but to dumb the curriculum down so that he can slowly introduce the curriculum that they're supposed to be on.
So I posted
Yeah.
a video asking parents to start working with teachers in order to get their children to where they need to be.
They need to.
Seventh grade teacher. A lot of my students read very well below grade level. You can point fingers and blame who you want, but the reality is these children cannot read level. And we are having to dumb down curriculum to get these students to where they need to be, and they're not getting it. I promise. And I'm not the only one saying this. There are thousands, if not millions of teachers across this country who are saying the same damn thing.
In another
Yeah, man.
video, he goes on to say that yes, while COVID did play a huge part in the way that these kids are being developed, that's only a part of the problem. The main part of the problem is that when these kids get back home from school, they are not retaining any of the information that they just heard because they come home and immediately start doing this.
That is the biggest issue I have, and the biggest thing I try to remedy as a teacher, especially on a regular weekly basis with students. Every session, we warm up with what we finished from the last session. It's still right there in front of your face. You literally see it because each page basically refreshes from each student. You'll see the students are on the left side. If you're looking at, probably not right now, but on my tablet, right? You just saw what it was here, like right here. So you've got the students on the left. Every time I switch between student and paper, I always have it organized based on the last thing we did. So when I don't have somebody and then they come back in, this one's empty, so it must be the one before. Bam. We were doing this stuff for homework or for work from the student. Yeah, you saw that kid with the electronics. So we always have a stimulating factor of, hey, let's review what we did last time. Can you tell me what we started doing last time? I always start with this because that forces the student to think about, wait a minute. Yeah, this looks familiar. What did we do last time? And then what happens? The brain goes through memory recall. I try to force memory recall as much as I can because they're not getting it on a regular basis. You saw that kid. You saw this kid. Wait, hold on. You saw this wonder over here to an iPad playing Minecraft with a video probably playing TikTok. I bet you it's TikTok. This, after school, you're erasing everything you just went through. Every single piece of class you did is currently being removed. And unlike a computer, like an actual computer, especially in the case of short term, a computer writes information onto a hard drive. Then you have the option in the future, you do it as a person, prioritize one file over the other. You say, hey, I don't need the stuff in my downloads folder. I'm going to delete it. Well, what happens? That is negative POV. Imagine having negative attention span. This is what it looks like right here. This kid, look at that. It just hurts me to. What is that in the background? I don't know what's behind the strings in the background. It looks like one of those like WWE. Yeah, it's a WWE stage. You see that in the background? At least he's got that, but he's not even using it. He's using it to prop his hand on the. My hand is hurting. I'm just gonna leave it right there. Oh yes, my phone over here, my iPad over here. Let's go. My ADD just decided to go into that direction. Attention span negative. I forgot where I was going with this, but memory recall is so important. That's where I was going with this. I always try to stimulate memory recall because this kid is currently like a hard drive, deleting files. You have the choice to delete files. He also has the choice, but he's replacing that choice with dopamine, and the dopamine is controlling his choice of, hey, I'm going to delete everything I just learned in school by overstimulating my face with lights. Just like that. Look at that. Look at that.
this is not just because of COVID. This is not just because kids were out of
It's
school
not.
all the time. That is a contributing factor to it.
Oh yeah.
But it's also because they're in environments where education and literacy are not emphasized, or it's not modeled. I got a student. Whenever the student has to work, he does not like doing it, and he gets frustrated, and then he gets mad, and then he starts to lash out, and I can't work with him past that point because he does not read on grade level, and I can't grade level work because he's so far on the grade level.
They are so used to having a device in their hands at all time that when there comes a time there is no device, they will just start playing with their thumbs,
Mm.
their fingers in the air as if they.
Yeah, imagine this. He's got no device in his hands, and he's using his imagination to put an iPhone in his hands. How cooked is that? Hey, toxic. How many hours? Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. These are college times, 20s, right? Was in computer science, which is probably the heaviest thing you can do. If you do computer science-based courses, would not recommend working. I would recommend having parents that are supportive, uh, that will let you focus. Because one of the biggest things in programming is in the beginning, for every 1 hour of code you do, you need 7 to 8 hours to actually figure out why it's not working. In the beginning, you're still learning, right? So you're just like hunting online. Nowadays, probably different. You got AI that can reduce it by half. So maybe I'd say for every 1 hour of code, you would do 4 hours of debugging. And a project would probably take an hour or two. But let's say that I was working 30 to 40 hours a week, plus attending University of Central Florida for computer science. And I didn't have enough time in a day. I went through my final crash out trying to catch up between work and college or university, which I didn't make past university. I didn't get my bachelor's in computer science, but I got my associates in with computer programming with applied computer science. It was like a gateway into it. They the University of Central Florida had this weird like gateway test that they removed ever since because only like 2 to 5% of students actually passed it. And of course they had that test because if you fail the test, you got to take the class and the test again so they get more money. So it was like, it didn't seem worth it to keep trying because in the end that test it was just a gateway to get more money for the place. But I learned so much in the case of self-education. I only learned C++ and Java in my college years. Ever since 2008, high school graduate, 2010, Valencia, 2012. Ever since 2012 up to today, they probably have perfected my programming languages, but up to today, call it 13 years, I know about 15 programming languages. I am fluent in 5 of them, and I use those 5 on a regular basis: PHP, Python, SQL, JavaScript. Um, okay, 4 of them. There's another one that auto hotkey. That one's a fun one, actually. I like to use it once in a while. It's like macro controlling my computer PC. Um, so I use those on a regular basis, the 5 programming languages. Dude, my sanity was on. I had to literally sleep. I degraded myself so much. I slept 3 hours, 5 to 3 hours a night because I didn't have enough time to study and go to work. I did that for 3 months before I crashed. Before I said, fuck it, I'm quitting my job. And then I started focusing full on university and I still couldn't get through. And I was like, all right. That's when I used to work at Microsoft after I worked at Apple. And this was the retail environment, right? So like the retail tech world. So I was like both selling and fixing people's computers in both cases, in both stores. Man. So depends on what you do, but I know my stepfather, when he was in college, he had plenty of time to go to fraternity parties in his business administration and finance classes. They really don't do much in business finance. If you want an easy subject in college, do business. Um, I've learned business in the last 5 years just by doing it on a regular basis. I've read people financial spreadsheets. I know how to look at financial data on Fred. You just kind of inherit use. You can learn it on the side, like as a side effect of like understanding the market and trading. You can learn business. That's it. It's just so easy. It's so easy to a point where I remember in university, business majors had to have business with applied calculus. They had to. And then comes around 2017, they changed the requirement to business with applied algebra. They downgraded the mathematical difficulty of business degrees. And I was like, no way. They made it dumber? That's insane. They made it easier to be a business. I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, that's going to be bad because calculus is the concept of understanding how to infinitesimally understand error, to minimize it such a tiny extent that you never have error, at least on the basis of like a 99.999, as the limit of error approaches to zero, right? You're never going to have a zero error, but as the limit approaches to zero error, you're going to have 0.000000001% chance of error. That's what they replaced with linear algebra. And even they're struggling to maintain our economy right now. I wonder how long this problem has been cooking to a point where I feel like our educational system has downgraded and reduced its qualifications for the last 20 years. And now the people that have been passed through this waiver, like, oh yeah, you're above average, go ahead, and the average goes down. Okay, all of you are above average, go ahead, you're passing, average goes down further. Okay, everyone's a part of the group, everyone passes, everyone gets a degree, here's your trophy. We're back to that, everyone gets a trophy case. And people don't have merit anymore. Software engineer jobs are dead by next year? Question mark. The company where I work at, we use Cursor with Claude Opus 4.7 model. We just write prompt these days, no code at all. I miss writing code. That's fair. I mean, I can't say I miss code, but I enjoy debugging. Like to have to start everything from scratch, meh. But to go around and hunt for errors, I think that's kind of one of my biggest like enjoyments to figure out why is this not working, where is this issue, which actually works beneficial for me when I use a lot of my AI. Not many times do I run one thing on an AI and be like, hey, create this for me, and then it just works off the bat. We've had many examples in the past from local AI that I have set up on my 3070 card. What do I have? Let me show you my AIs that I have over here. Latest one is I got this distilled chat GPT 4.0 version. There it is, the 4.0 mini. It's about a 7 gig space. GigaChat. I think I wanted to remove that actually. I just don't like the name of it. Actually, it was one of these. I think it was GigaChat where oh dude, am I gonna crash something real quick? Hold on, let me check my memory real quick. So I gotta make sure that when I was running one of these AIs, it started talking to itself. And it had like an endless conversation. I don't even know where it went. I saved it somewhere. But it just kept on talking to itself. Like this one wasn't really distilled very well. That was fun to watch, just an AI talk to itself. Okay. So let's do I want to do the second Constantine real quick. Let's take a look at this. Take a little break from YouTube videos. I want to just give it a hello and see where it goes. Because some of these are distilled from like Chat GPT models. It was talking about healthcare. I did. Data structures and algorithm was actually really fun. Um, in fact, like when you actually go into like the meat and potatoes of developing, you don't actually do any of that. You have a function that somebody created for you who went through computer science that basically created this sorting function, the bubble sort function, or the key value pair, or the pointer array, all of these functions that basically exist that you never even have to think about. But it was really fun understanding how that worked. I even posed a question to one of my professors that almost felt like it blew his mind because he just fell back to, oh, this is how we do it. This is how it's been. And I asked him, hey, if we have a limitation on the basis of processing based on the CPU being a binary system, a 0 or 1, what happens when we expand binary? Because you can tell that you can take a binary IP address that's stuck between 0 and 255 for an IP network, and you can expand it to hexadecimal and call it a IPv6. So you're expanding with more values. Now instead of 0 and 1, you have 0 to A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So now you can fit more information in smaller sets of data. What if we built that from scratch? What if we scratch all this binary crap we have on the processor and build it based on not two directional paths on a transistor, but have more? And I'm kind of like elaborating back in 2012 to quantum physics. Quantum physics has the potential to not only do yes and no, but like 50% in the middle, 25%, like all these other potential structures. And I posed the question, what if we just adjusted the way our processor worked and said, hey, instead of zeros and one, can we do 0.5, 0.25? Those would be potential factors. We can do that also with the voltage value, not just with one transistor on, one transistor off, but also, hey, what's the measure of that transistor? And we can adjust that sort of processing. He looked at me like, well, we do this with binary because that's how everything's built. And I'm like, okay, professor, you good. Go ahead with your lecture. I won't bother you again. Um, describe yourself. Oh no, this is the Mistral one. GigaChat is the Mistral one? Which one was that really weird? Oh, which one was it? Okay, so this is the Mistral one. What would you like to know or discuss? So GigaChat is 6.5 gigabytes. Okay. Maybe it's, let me check because I've already played with Mistral enough. Let me check the GPT mini that I got recently. So totally flabbergasted that. I don't have just Brave. I have Brave, and I have Zen, and I have LibreFox. Wolf, sorry, Libre Wolf. And I have Helium, and I have Opera. You want to see? Here's my browsers, you guys. I can't get enough browsers. Here, take a gander. You want to see what my taskbar looks like? There's all my browsers right there for your enjoyment. I don't really use this very often, as per obvious case scenario. Uh, not very often. OneNote, give or take, I use that pretty often. LM Studio, great application so far. I actually researched this recently. The Turbo Quant from Google, LM Studio has actually applied it to your models. So you can actually run much better, like same models that you would normally use, but you would actually use this optimized compression that runs better on your GPU, runs faster. So without any changes to the GPU and hardware, you can run bigger models on your PC because it takes portions of it, compresses it, uses RAM as a factor, but also doesn't get impeded by it. And then your GPU overhead is reduced based on this compression rate. So TurboQuant, pretty cool. I've even told my manager in tutoring because he's trying to get like this AI to teach. And I told him, look, like, don't get disappointed. At this point in time, we've basically got all the hardware we can milk. All the hardware we can milk. Whoa. Whoa. Hello? Whoa. What are you speaking in Chinese? Speak English. Okay, yeah. Oh, what? Wait a minute. Was my AI speaking to me in Chinese or something? I could speak English specific. I'm kind of sus now about that. Cheval Blanc. Paris Dawan. Maybe that's the person trained it. AI, OpenAI specifically based on GPT 2.5, designed to understand natural language input, technology, science, history, entertainment. Training data includes diverse sources. I'm constantly learning new things. However, as an AI model powered by advanced machine learning, my primary focus is always providing helpful insight. While I'm computer programming design, at heart, I'm just another tool created to assist you in the pursuit of knowledge. Just got pretty decent speaking connotation. Very chat GPT. Chat GPT just has a very humanistic approach to its speech versus the other models like my Quen 3.5, which is basically a distilled reasoning model, and I use that for programming. And it's the Q4 that you're really looking for, the quantized models that can kind of fit more into small spaces. Hmm. So that's cool. Okay, that's nice. Great, thanks for that. So I just wanted to check that because I haven't checked that in a bit. Take a good gander at it. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't really see it. I guess my system doesn't support that type of text. So it just gave me a bunch of like squares with question marks in it, so I didn't get nothing like that. Um, but maybe is it really more effective than English to have a limited set of characters versus Chinese case factors? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like having so many unique characters in Chinese and Mandarin, you're gonna have a lot more. Well, maybe because maybe that just gives you more flexibility in the expression of words. So the AI doesn't have to think extra on the grammatical sense and just goes and spits out. All right, let's continue a little bit more.
They do have a device in their hands. It isn't any surprise that they're not
Okay, let me see that again. That's ridiculous. He's using his imagination to imagine himself on his phone.
They are so used to having a device in their hands at all time that when there comes a time there is no device, they will just start playing it with their thumbs and their fingers in the air as if they do have a device
Look
in
at
their
how he's
hand.
scrolling.
It isn't any surprise that
That's
they're
a
not
drug
retaining
addict right
any
there.
information. Because all they're thinking about is where's my phone? When can I go on my phone? What's happening on my phone right now? They don't have any environmental awareness. They don't know what's going on around them. Because there was literally a kid who was left alone at his restaurant table because the family had acted like they left to see if he would notice. He didn't lift a finger. He didn't lift his eyes. He did not notice that there was nobody else at the table with him anymore. Because as soon as they get their device, they turn the world out and nothing else but the device.
That's crazy.
And what they're doing on that device. And the people in that video were like it was funny. That's not funny. That is dangerous.
Oh, echo sound, huh? Hold on. Has that been going on, Tron? The sound has been echoing like that?
When I tell you that these babies cannot
Uh-huh.
read, they cannot write, and they cannot comprehend. I'm not being funny.
Okay.
I'm being dead serious. It doesn't exist.
But what he's the most concerned about
Okay, is that better?
that he's teaching 7th graders, okay? These kids would be from 12 to 13.
I think I removed the echo. I hope I didn't move the actual audio completely.
These are the words that
All
they
good?
cannot
All good?
spell.
7th grade English teacher here.
Because we had an earlier issue where my mic wasn't on. Tron was here. Because, technical difficulties. But hopefully the audio looks fine now. Is it working? Let me know. I have to patch it through a couple of places and get it listening to here. Ah, a wire plumber. Look at you. Look at you being a compute like a giga computer chat, like you were saying. Talking about Brave, you're using wire plumber.
I have kids constantly asking me, how do I spell window? How do I spell important? How do I spell though? And they be serious. They're dead serious.
He then goes on to say that he will get his students to read a story with 4 paragraphs. Just 4. And they cannot name the main character
Gigapipe.
of that story.
Gigawire over here.
The main character's name of a 4-paragraph story that they just read.
I could ask them who's the main character of your story, the story of 4-paragraph story we just read. Can't tell you. They don't know. They don't know.
I do have this. I have this.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
I have students that we read because I don't just do math. Some of them use me for social studies. Some of them use me for ELA, science, and math. So I do have social studies and ELA students where we literally read a paragraph of information. And it's still in the same window. It's like literally within the window of what he sees. The answer is highlighted in the only highlighted space of the whole text. It's highlighted in front of him. Ask him a question: who's the main character, or what just happened, or what made a sound in the last scene, and it's highlighted. And he's just staring at me like blank because I give cues. I highlight, I give clues on where you can find things. So all you have to do is just look at where the markings are and you'd find the answer right away. And then maybe read a letter or a word before my marking and then read that piece and be like, oh, the bird made a noise. Oh, the main character's name is John or whatever. But I ask him a question and it's just like staring. And I know he's not reading anything. He's just completely zoinked out of his mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like I've seen people on drugs be more receptive than some of these kids that I've had teaching. But he's just staring at me like I asked him a question. He's thinking in his head maybe, like maybe he's thinking about it. But it's right there in highlight. All he has to do is notice the one little color in the text that says John and Bell. They can read that one little sentence, but maybe he just doesn't want to read anything until he's made to do it. No, that's 100% true. That's kind of the problem. It's not a stereotype, rather, it's the outcome of what we're noticing from these tracked and data collected. They're basically being tagged like cattle. Everyone after the millennial generation, and even the millennial, because the millennials trained. I blame the millennials for this because they're the ones that had bad parenting in the first place. You have to have a starting point of bad parenting in order to bear the results of what's happening now. Yeah, I agree. It's a progressive degrading over time, right? We had the 90s, we had Blockbuster, we had that extra effort culture where we would take that extra effort for that reward, and then it kept reducing, kept reducing. A phone call became a text message. A movie became a YouTube video. A YouTube video became a short, a TikTok. Every level of effort to gain something from the content we consume keeps getting shorter and shorter. And that is a case for mass slop projection. What happens when you go to a farm? You don't give pigs three-course meals, right? You don't give them a set of whatever. You just put everything in their plate and they just go at it. We're being cattled, being tagged by an ID. We're being fed advertisements because in the end, I go back to the basics where I was conversing with one of my friends about what real business is. what real economy is within a country. An economy is the physical exchange of goods for physical money. Now we can talk about eggs with silver. That's the basis of an economy. Eggs, milk, whatever to silver. Some physical aspects. Well, we changed silver and gold to paper, call it monetary systems. And we've changed eggs and milk and all of these other bits and pieces to online digital code and content. And you can replicate this kind of stuff. Yeah, no, it's not like a specialized syndrome. Yeah, no, for sure. It's not like, oh, you guys were all born underneath the moonlight of the chaos reign of the century. No, it's not only that, it's you had, for instance, 6 years ago, you would have been 16. The peak case of your development was during the 2020 COVID lockdowns. A lot has changed then. So much it's difficult to explain, right? The awareness of I'm going to be an adult is around that 16 to 18 timeline. And the way life changed after 2020 does not resemble anything that it was before. Like even in the stock market when I was trading, we had all of these like remote, everyone's going to work from home, all this kind of stuff. All of these Salesforce stocks went up. Everyone's betting on work from home, and then it all crashed anyway because it realized, oh, everyone's working from home. Now our offices are empty and we're wasting money on commercial real estate. And it's a constant back and forth fight on the market to figure out what they're actually going to be doing with the system because they're not even sure. But that 2020, man, that really set some everyone working and learning from home. The basis of it is social interactions have been reduced since then. Everything is on a screen. I don't know if you've seen Black Mirror, but if you haven't, recommend you do. What we've entered after 2020 is a Black Mirror episode where everything is being conducted by a device. Everyone's tagged in a particular frame net. Everyone has a particular profile online. Call it Facebook, call it your Google Sense ad ID, right? However you want to tag that line. They probably have a better tag than you can possibly even put on your own Facebook page. They know exactly what websites you're going to, what you're looking at, what ads you're clicking on, everything. That's what's fucking stuff up. It's not the generation. It's the fact that they're trying to cattle everyone after 2020. And the problem is, it's not that, again, Gen X, Gen Z, doesn't matter what generation you are. How do you manipulate a population? Well, you start with the young kids. You're a victim of a system that's basically trying to profit from less and less work because it takes more work to create physical products. You can see China, they had to go through a whole industrialization for 20 years and sell cheap products just to get where they are. People worked for pennies. We had this whole child labor situation, right? People worked for pennies to try and get to where they are now. Now it doesn't happen as much. But just like the Philippines at one point in time, the Philippines was also in debt, a lot in debt. So they had to basically work, again, almost slave wages. And then the taxation on those wages helped pay the debt. Yeah. Millennial selfie kids. I hated selfies, dude. I even hated I hated taking picture of myself so much. My main focus when I went anywhere is taking pictures of scenery. I hated taking pictures of myself in the picture. It was just not the thing I like to do. Camera shy or whatever. I don't know. But it was just like, why would I take a picture of myself when I know what I look like? I'd rather take a picture of a scene that I just experienced so I can remember it later. That was kind of my mindset. But yeah, no. It's that's me. I'm a millennial, but I do know plenty of millennials selfieing around. I would say millennials were the ones that created selfies and food pics and all this crap when we started with what was it called? MySpace? Actually, MySpace wasn't bad. You know why? We had such control over the back end of the HTML. I learned my very first scripting on HTML through MySpace. They gave us a little way to kind of inject pieces of code so we can change the way our page looks. That was peak social media, where you have the ability to learn just a little extra to somebody else and then completely customize your stuff. This is when I got into Linux because I was realized, holy crap, I can customize the way my operating system works and looks just like I can customize my MySpace page. Then I started expanding from that. I'm like, I love customizing my crap. Like it's like painting your car. It's just changing something to look a little bit different the way you want it to look. So MySpace was a great social media until Facebook took over, and that made everyone's profile look exactly the same except the banner at the top. Ooh, fancy banner you got there. It's an image you download from stock photos or whatever. Like the customization value just really changed. Everyone became this cookie cutter representation that never expanded beyond the Facebook page, white background, blue banner. Um, we all became clones, basically, is what I'm getting at here. MySpace was the last time we had that sort of. You'll have Gen Z doctors soon. I was talking about this earlier. I hope you're taking calculus seriously. I'd rather you reduce the error rate with calculus than algebra. When I was teaching in University of Central Florida, I had a lot of business kids, a lot of, I don't know if it was dentists too. I had a lot of dentists and doctors being, taught at the time. They weren't the best math, but they did try and they did pretty decent. But I was most scared for business because the business requirements went from having a calculus or a business with applied calculus. It changed to, well, having business with algebra. Now, you know, that's okay. I can see that. But if you're going to be operating on me, I hope you're optimizing your limits to reduce the error. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Jelly bean. Oh my God. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's keep going.
Weeks to get through how to answer a question in a complete sentence.
But this topic of discussion isn't just only on TikTok, because it's on Twitter as well. This is the work
Smell like
of an
fish.
8th grader. A child who is anywhere from
Nice.
13 to 14 years old
That's good.
is
Math
turning in work
optimizes
that
things.
looks like this. That's real. And somebody in the replies of this tweet said this. I haven't looked into this much, but all I know is that if I had autocorrect as a kid, it would have for sure fucked me up. I agree with them. I really do. How
That's
are
true.
we supposed to expect kids to learn anything or to retain any information when they can just go online, type one word into an
Smell
AI
like
bot
fish.
and get an entire essay
Smell
written
like
to them
fish.
with the step of a finger?
Ah.
How can we blame them for not being able to sustain any actual education when they can just
You're better
go
now.
to the app store,
Slightly better.
scan a problem that they're having with their
Sorry, I
homework
didn't mean
through
to
an app
throw fish on
and
your
get
back.
the answer immediately? How is any information supposed to stick when there's no actual learning
Look at this
going
long
on?
cat.
It's just, let me get my phone out and scan this equation and then I'll write what's being given to me. But this phenomenon isn't just happening at schools. It's
He is not
happening
amused.
everywhere. You want to learn ballet? It's happening there.
Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. I teach 5-year-olds ballet. They don't respect any of.
Like, autocorrect would be that starting point where you don't put a lot of effort in what you do and you just let it roll. Whatever happens, happens. Um, it's like the calculator analogy, right? That's kind of like where we're entering now. Autocorrect with AI, but it's not just autocorrect. It's information correct, and it's not always accurate information. Autocorrect as a kid, for sure, decent analogy because you're kind of like, it's not as crazy bad. Maybe it'll help you learn if you really take a look at the details. Yeah. You know what? I think you'll benefit from creative as well, not just CS and math. the fact that we have a lot of people in the neuron space, in the deep learning brain simulation and stuff. I think I've always been a proponent of balanced brain diet, right? A diet between logic and creativity. You can look at people like Da Vinci, Beethoven. They created things that no other person would have thought because they had a little sprinkle of creativity in the way they thought. So potentially, don't over inflame yourself with too much logic, but also consider some form of creativity involved. That might give you some aspects of enlightenment when you know all of your logical CS and math, plus that sprinkle of creativity that might give you an idea that just unlocks a path we never thought about before. Always balance it out in the end.
Authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. 7 times today,
Dude.
I've had to redirect her to just
Hello,
sit in
stop
her spot.
smoking. Welcome
well,
in.
clearly she didn't want to sit, and mind you, this is a mom.
You want a
Clearly she didn't
reaction?
want to fucking sit right there. So, I mean, if she telling you she don't want to do something, why
Yeah,
keep asking her to do
I
it?
guess.
You know she's not going to do it.
And that's also why we can't put the blame solely on the children.
Thanks,
Because
appreciate
their
it.
parents clearly don't
Yeah, guys,
care.
make sure you like,
And another
leave a
thing
like, subscribe
that's
if you want to keep talking on this.
heart-wrenching is
I
horrifying.
do a lot of
Your
programming.
5-year-old
Generally speaking, we're just kind of chilling right now. I did want to play Incredible Machine. I'll probably do that for later. I'm enjoying the moments at the time. But do leave a like and subscribe.
daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town.
5-year-olds are requesting
What?
this song. This is the song that they want to hear in their
Are you kidding
ballet
me?
class. And the only reason any of them would have even known about that song's existence is through TikTok, is through Instagram, because of the devices that their parents keep giving them without any supervision.
I'm playing them Princess Tiana ballet music, and they are asking me,
Welcome to the
can we
club.
hear Pound?
I'll check out your video, see what's up.
I'll say, hey, you know, let's regroup. If you
I'll
guys
drop by
need
one of these
5
days.
minutes, let's do some breathing. Your kids are telling me to shut up. You guys as kids are saying, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. You're not my mom. Y'all come in and you're more worried about what's going on your Instagram and TikTok feed versus being a parent. Be a fucking parent with kids that are between the ages of 5. You guys don't parent your children.
That's the problem right there. That millennials have gotten to a point where they are also intertwined with this whole system of the screen in your face. And they are the influence that the kids are going to do. Oh, cool. Hey, welcome from Moldova. Very cool. Be cool to see. And look, do your best. Don't worry about the clarity. I'm sure it'll be just fine. I'd say the problem, whether it's worldwide or just US, from the experience of my teaching, a lot of it's in the US. Even currently, out of, and I do have a special set of students, right? I'm normally dealing with autism, I'm dealing with ADHD, and it's Western kids. So my work is done within the US. I do have very, oh man, I maybe out of 3 out of 15 students are like there because they want to optimize the way they do things. They're studying for the SAT. They know what they're doing, but they want to do it better. 3 out of the 15. The other 12 are struggling in class and need help. And before that, 2 or 3 of the students that I had, I could just not help. One of them was a kid that would TikTok meme like every 30 seconds. Like I would go through something show her how to add fractions, and then ask her, okay, where do we begin? And then she just spit out a TikTok meme. 6, 7, the chin one, dum 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 dum, all the Italiano, blah blah blah, whatever the hell. A CD man here, fair. So it is definitely inflamed on the Western, but culture has adjusted. I know in South Korea, there's limitations. In China, especially, huge limitations. I think they give like their kids by some sort of Chinese state government system like 2 hours a day on their device. Something like this. I can't remember the details, but there are some limitations that are being applied. In Europe, it's yeah. I have a Lamborghini Crocodilo. Please don't stop. Don't start this. Don't start this. Yeah, that's the same. That's what I would hear on a regular basis. You're giving me shell shock from that student. I couldn't help her. I could not help her. Um, and her mom was always working, trying to keep up. She was a single mom. And I understand that, man. My mom was a single mom too, but as a kid, I respected her hustle to try and keep us alive. Sung Tung Sahur. Um, for some reason, I know how to pronounce these things because of my students. But I realized how much effort my mom was putting into keeping us afloat. So I would like wake up early for school and I'd make her coffee for her work day before I went to school. So she had coffee to start the day, and I would then go to the bus stop. Like I would be a part of, as much as I could as a child, be a part of the process of our survival. But then you got these kids like Tung Tung Sahar and Bombardino Crocodilo and all these other ones. They just don't give a fuck. Their parents could be literally gone all day. They're happy they're not there so they can watch TikTok all day. And that was her. That was the student I could not help. She was totally like, you know how we're programmed by advertisements? Da 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 da. Right? Right? Bing, the Taco Bell thing. Like we have these sort of back in the day, we've seen these commercials so much that we know the jingles. We know the ads like literally built inside of our brain at this point. It's like that. Tralala, tralala. It's not just that, it's the TikTok sense that we don't just get to see ads once in a while, and between like 3 minutes between 20-minute series on our favorite TV show, but they're scrolling through this program concept. Like the way that the student replied was literally in the tongue to her. Or the Bombardillo Crocodilo, like it was programmed that she could not get away from it. She was almost at the same point where it's like I asked her a question, she didn't want to answer, and she wanted to do something fun and get some dopamine hits, and boom, Baby Shark do. Yeah, that was fun. I guess what was that? What was that shark with the big shoes? That was another one. I forget. Yeah, Bombardino Crocodile. Okay, oh my God. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to look this stuff up and promote this crap. Anyway, man, that's the problem. That's the problem.
At all. They have no basic comprehension skills. They can't sit still. No attention span. They're hitting people. They can't talk. They can't communicate. They don't even know how to say, I want to go to the bathroom. If you ask them a question,
That would be a case, but you're asking for parents that are normally minimally technically inclined to set up a server, probably modify the firmware, or potentially block gateways from Google on their router, or have it in between. Maybe we could probably get some sort of a much easier case where you connect the router to this box where it's a Linux box you're using running like a custom Raspberry Pi operating system that passes the network over and then filters out that stuff automatically and then sell it. That would be a good product, right? Like basically have a little Raspberry Pi and a little box. You connect the network in between your modem and your router, and that box just filters all the trash out using a custom Raspberry Pi setup with some scripts that pass traffic through and denies, shorts and TikTok and all that crap. That would be much better for parents than having be like, hey, parents, let me teach you how to set a in-between network with a laptop or whatever, like PC. Yeah. We should we should more teach them how to set up that gateway level rather than have government have control over that gateway level through online identification formats. Like we don't really want that. We don't want the big GOV to be involved in what we see. It just does not go cope well. No time in history does a government gaining more control and saying, "Hey, don't worry, we're here to fix things." No time in history does that actually fix things. Keep that in mind. No time in history is when the government offers to fix something that it actually works, that it's here's the 5 things that never happens with the government. The fix works. Things they do is temporary. Things they do is cheap. Things they do is beneficial to everyone in society. And things they do is well, 4 I could think of right now. Things government does is not cheap. It doesn't help fix anything. It's not beneficial to people in society, and it's never temporary. It's permanent. Like the gold standard. When were we supposed to go back on the gold standard?
They're rude,
Next DNS,
nasty,
exactly. Yeah, there you
horrible
go.
attitude
Next
at
DNS would work.
5, and they want to hear Pound Town.
I mean, this teacher is getting pushed so far to the limit.
Okay, all right. I love this girl. She's great, but her voice can kind of get to like a high frequency level. It kind of gets a little bit. Was this the one I saw?
Just when I'd thought we'd seen the worst of Gen Alpha, Brainrot has officially been codified into their nursery rhymes.
6, 7, go to
No.
heaven. You try to melon, watch Coco Melon, and shoot it with AK-47.
That's the most disturbing thing I've seen in years, bro. Like, I'm more disturbed at that than if I found
What the hell did we just see? Sure, send the video. Let me see what it's about. I'll take a look at it on the side here and see if it's appropriate. But what the hell was that? Was that a nursery rhyme that ended with AK-47 and watch Coco Melon? The exact thing that brainrots kids into being like that?
out that my new speech and debate coach was
Jeez.
the reasons that I believe cereal should count as soup. Growing up, we had real rhymes.
Yo, they try to sell cereal as a dinner substance. What? Kalashnikov, yeah. Shout out to all the pubs out there.
Right? Like, you remember when a boy and a girl would play together for 3 seconds in recess, and everyone would start shouting, "First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby in the baby carriage. And that's not all, and that's not all, the baby's playing basketball. And that's not all, and that's not all, the baby's shooting up a shopping mall." Like, whatever. Now the kids' rhymes, they keep the
What the
but they have the Coco
fuck?
Melon. Like, what are we doing?
Oh my God.
What's going on? Tell me why the 6-year-old threatening to shoot you with the AK-47 is the least insane part of that video. On our channel Discord, someone complained to me that their Gen Alpha cousin is watching this every morning. And a Gen Alpha responded, "I can confirm, I watch this every morning." And the first thing I was thinking when I saw the Gen Alpha write that was, you're Gen Alpha and you can write?
Oh my God.
Okay, not gonna lie.
What the
Watching
hell?
that, I thought 2 things. Number 1, why are we continuing the human project? We should wrap it up. Maybe when the Cubs won the World Series,
We should
that
wrap
would've
up
been a
the
good note to
human
end on.
project,
If Gen Alpha's
guys.
growing up on that, then I'm impressed Gen Alpha is even able to, like... Well, wait, what can they do? I'm amazed that Gen Alpha can at least, like,
say the word Coco Melon. Because if I grew up on that video, I can tell you guys, I would not be here today, alright? I would be begging for the sweet release of Dan Schneider's Lair. But maybe I take back that Gen Alpha can say the word Coco Melon. Like, look at this Gen Alpha try to explain a very common literary device in a very common word.
What kind of foreshadowing video are you showing me?
Subtle foreshadowing.
One more time.
Subtle foreshadowing.
Subtle foreshadowing. Cool.
Subtle.
Okay, nobody tell him about
Subtle foreshadowing. SUBTLE. Oh no.
Because what these Gen Alpha kids lack in knowledge, they make up for in confidence. These kids are not afraid to tell you what they think.
Mommy? Yeah. Terrible sandwich, by the way.
Thanks for letting me know.
Really terrible.
Just
Terrible sandwich, by the way.
If you try to show your butt off, it's flat.
Not her saying that as she like scooted away on her pink rainbow.
Yo.
I miss my name. No, you don't. Your man's gone.
Hallelujah.
That's loud.
Okay, sorry.
Do it nicely.
Oh, yeah.
You're like
No, she don't.
Mommy,
I want you to put that on it.
Are you baby?
Huh?
Yeah. But why are you so fat? When I turn into a grown up, I don't want to be a fat grown up. I
Yo.
want to be a skinny grown up.
Do you know any fat grown-ups?
The way she looking though.
It's more right French.
Why you did that?
I just shouldn't did it. I did by mistake. I'm sorry.
I can't blame her. She did it by mistake.
Steak.
You know, that tenderloin can make you do crazy things sometimes. But my favorite
Yo.
has got to be this concerning intersection between historical literacy and disinhibition.
Just because they... Yes, Junior.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1984.
1984.
Yes, sir. 19, some of the best years in life. So you gotta get up there. You can't be scared to play with these dudes or none like that.
How was it being a slave?
You
So I know some people don't like
wow.
Ronald Reagan, but what I didn't like
Dude.
about Reagan was his 1984 executive order that revived slavery. And sometimes these kids will say the most impudent things because they're trying to support you. Like this girl saw her mom loading up the car with gas, and the girl concluded it's because her mom can't get a boyfriend. But she's still like, you go girl, you don't need a boyfriend, you get your own gas.
That's my mom putting gas because she got no man. Hey, good girl.
See? Supportive. I'm just so concerned that these kids are thinking about such adult
Neuroplasticity is definitely a godsend in that factor. Maybe. Reactions are fine. Moderation activity is turned off. Moderation activity will be shown. Maybe. Huh. So my link goes through, but where's your link? So you guys see his link? That's the question, I guess. Maybe I don't see the link.
topics when they should be focused on their childhood. But when you get access to the internet at 7 and your regular slang terms include Gyat, then there's no...
I do. I do have a Discord group. The motivation is to join my Patreon for free, just like as a regular support. And there you get a link to my Discord group. Also, sometimes my bot sends it out. My bot sends out the Discord group. Okay, so then I don't know what the link is about on his. I have to moderator on. I have to be moderator and YT to send links. Yeah, okay. Well, all right, you guys are chill. I do appreciate it if you do join my Discord. But also, technically, the gateway to my Discord is through Patreon. So if you do me a solid, if you set up and log in membership, not membership, like the free, just regular support, you don't pay anything. Do not pay anything. Go to my Patreon/ChrisMIA. You can get the Discord directly. I'd respect that wholeheartedly. Otherwise, here, I'll send you here the video or the Discord group. But I would be very, very grateful if you would join the Patreon. I'm trying to get that running. Here's the Discord. You can send the link in Discord in that case scenario. I'll take a look at it from there. Okay. Oh, buffering. Why am I buffering? Hmm. I got perfectly fine ping. What is going on? Is down detector acting up? No, Outlook's going a little ham.
Avoiding
Ooh,
seeing the
manual
world
can't.
through
Good choice.
your very juvenile lens. You got kids acting like they're Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness, you know, some 40-year-old down on his luck insurance salesman trying to get the next promotion.
Be a great dad because I care for my family a lot and I also have a lot of passion. I would provide for my family, except I got no money.
You're a kid.
Yeah, I know, I got like 20 bucks.
But when you're maybe an adult.
I'm still in debt though.
You're in debt?
Yeah, I kinda am, yeah.
You're a kid, how are you in debt?
I owe my mom something because I thought I had more money than I actually had. Life is just a game of baseball, really. If you keep working, eventually you'll hit that home run and you'll feel great about yourself. Or like there's the times where you strike out or make an error in the field.
I swear, that kid is about to sell me an e-course with Grant Cardone.
Dude, that kid was really on it though. What?
Where parents are trying to ape their kids' doom scroll sludge because they think they'll communicate better. Picking up Brainrot to speak better is kind of like chopping off your limbs to become a better dancer.
Bruh,
He was on to something.
You know we don't hit our brother. That is 0 IQ behavior. Thank you. Did you make this? Yeah. This is so fire. It doesn't matter that the dinner's
No.
You have to 100% your plate if you want any dessert. Bruh, you made your bed without me even having to ask you? That's such a big brain activity.
That is the most millennial code
I mean,
video I've seen in years, bro.
There's a
Speaking
light
of
version
bro,
of this. I would probably like 100% cool. They're gonna learn percentages, so that's fine. 100% K. All right. Big brain activity K. 0 IQ. Like, want to call that slop speak? I wouldn't call that slop speak, but I would say Skibidi toilet slop speak. 100% slop speak.
apparently that's Gen Alpha's new watchword. Everyone is bro, including like their mom Linda.
Bro.
So apparently this girl's entire conversation with her mom included calling her bro and asking for more Roblox money, including my favorite text. She calls her mom cringe while using the wrong form of your. But hey, she calls her mom bro. At least that's a somewhat affectionate moniker. This kid just calls his mom Linda. Linda.
I have to yell at you guys.
Listen,
Then Gen Alpha feels so
Listen,
comfortable calling
Linda.
their parents by their first
Dude.
names or lashing out
What?
at them like this. Bro, that kid decided it was his mom's time. Is because of millennials' misunderstanding of gentle parenting that created this generation of kids. Watch Chloe Grace Moretz Choppleganger explain.
I remember I could always tell right away.
I'm kidding, I just wanted to use the word Choppleganger. I'm not saying this girl is chopped, but she does look like Chloe Grace Moretz.
When I was narrating which parents were trying to use this approach. Because consequences for your actions was a concept that seemed completely alien to these children. One time, a boy who was like 8 or 9 years old was upset with me, and he came up and he slapped me straight across the face. I had never seen behavior like this. And I believe the fight had something to do with watching TV. I took away all of his electronics, his iPad, his TV privileges for the rest of the week. And every day he thought that I was going to cave and give it back to him for some reason, and he was astounded that I held up these consequences for his actions. Another time, he and his siblings would often throw a massive fit when I told them they had to at least eat some of the dinner.
You were
if they wanted to get
insufferable,
dessert, 'cause
Linda.
For some reason, this family did dessert
Oh my
every
God.
single night. When I wasn't paying attention, they went and tried to throw all their food in the garbage. And I said, A, I guess you guys are okay with not having dessert tonight. And B, I don't want to hear it from you guys when you're hungry later because you just threw all the food I made for you in the garbage. Then they started complaining about being hungry later that night because they genuinely thought I was still going to give them dessert for whatever reason. And I said, no, you guys can go make yourselves some real food, but I told you there's not going to be dessert tonight if you didn't eat your first meal. And the more I
Dude,
set
long
these boundaries and
story.
patterns, the
I'm
less
actually like
issues we were
spacing
having
out
with
right
dinner
now.
every
Also
night.
fix
And it
the
always felt
damn
really
door.
nice to hear the parents
The
like
hinges on
commenting
this
how
door
their
have
kids were
been
just
broken,
genuinely
Linda.
behaving
Why
better.
haven't you fixed this door, Linda?
Their parents spend
It's been
outside
5
of a
months,
childhood.
Linda.
They spend their whole day thinking about Roblox and
Linda!
stereotypes, or literally making TikToks in every corner of their
Oh,
already
man.
digital world. They'll make TikToks like
This is. Hold on.
Wait, hold on. What?
Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm right here.
oh, poor girl.
She's recording herself? No way. No way. She just recorded herself. Look at her.
Got to
Wait.
be one of the craziest videos of all time.
I'm literally at my kid's soccer game, soccer practice.
Wait.
And this person is making a TikTok
This
against
person.
my car. They don't see me because my windows are tinted. And she's literally just dancing. Does anyone know who this is? Hold on.
Did anyone lose
Excuse
their
me.
child?
Excuse me.
Her
Right here.
face!
Oh, poor.
Literally, as the window closes, it was like. Yeah. Discord beep coming in. I had
I
to
feel for her.
adjust
Not saying this
that
goes
a
for
little
everyone,
bit.
but when I was like first getting
Really?
into Musically, it was fun.
Because
for
that
a while,
already
but then
confuses me when I'm like
so much of a thing,
watching other people, like other video creators, and then they have their Discord beep, and I'm like, wait, is that me or is that the video? So, excuse me if I beep a little bit real quick.
I had to do as stupid as making Musically sound as a thing I had to do sound. It lost a bit of its luster, a bit of its authenticity. The same way Mr. Beast used to make all these crazy, genuine videos no one had ever seen before, and now he makes all his content like he's running a Henry Ford assembly line. I worry how many of these kids really, truly, madly, deeply love making silly TikToks, and how many of them just feel the pressure to, like, seem pretty to their classmates or seem trendy by making a TikTok. Especially when you have kids at 7 years old on something called Polybuzz, where these young boys just stare at like pretty girls from TikTok. Bruh, growing up, the prettiest girls I saw were from like actual TV episodes, okay? Like watching Victorious or something. And so now there's an inevitable huge backlash among Gen Z and millennials to what Gen Alpha culture has become. But the proposed solutions are not the right ones. Like millennials and Gen Zs have responded to Gen Alpha having this anti-education culture by just showing Gen Alpha the memes that was popular when millennials and Gen Z were
Alright,
kids. We don't see
alright,
Gen Alpha
Mr.
by just like showing them the duck song. Like look at this millennial
Mr.
putting
Stop
a
Smoking
gun to her
Dinu.
Gen Alpha sister's head.
The only
to
show
make sure
that
she
lowers
watches, like, some
IQ,
anime meme
the
from when
longer
she
you
was a
watch,
kid.
I need a little deduction. Hold on, we'll go for it. We'll go for it.
I mean, it's admirable how intense the millennial is taking this. I don't think it's gonna have the intended result.
Ah. I'm burnt out on watching kids going crazy. Let's see what Dinu's got in here. So we've got. Nope, that's not how I want to open it. Nope. Why am I set to do this? I think I want to change the browser of choice here. My default browser. I do like your beginning here. It's pretty good starting. Hold on. Need to change my browser defaults because every time I turn up Zen is like my full browser. Hold on. Workplace, and I open up every single thing at once, which I don't want to do. I'm gonna go back to using Brave as my default. Zen is good as a workspace, but not as a default browser. Okay, let's try that again. Is it? No, don't do that again. All right, well, let me just do this. I'm gonna copy this over, throw it over to Brave. All right, let's watch. Everyone, lock in. We got a viewer.
What's up,
There he is.
Internet? I'm Dino, broadcasting live from the bunker in Moldova, so the Matrix can't find me. And welcome to
So the Matrix
Smoking
can't
Dino,
find me.
the only show that lowers your IQ the longer you watch. We've got
I could use a little
show
bit.
today. Politicians turning into fish, the moon getting cancelled, and the DJ that took the bass drop too literally. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Starting off with some
I
national
like it. I like it.
Scientists exploring the deep sea off the coast of Venezuela just discovered a new species of fish. And guys, I think this fish wants to build a wall around the coral reef. Just look at this distinguished
No.
gentleman. Marine biologists say the fish is highly aggressive, guards its territory, and keeps yelling fake news at the squids. Honestly, the evolution is wild. Give it 2 million years, and the fish is gonna run for office and ban sharks from entering the Atlantic. Make the ocean great again. Speaking of the big guy, Donald Trump is back in the medical field. Forget doctors, forget science. According to the recent report,
Come on, I was looking for a
Trump has
fish.
announced that Diet Coke actually cures cancer. You heard that right.
Oh my god. Let's talk about that. He actually stated, oh, not it wasn't Trump, it was his son, the one kid. Not his son, probably his son, stepson, son-in-law, whatever. He was saying that, oh, Diet Coke kills grass, so it must kill cancer. There's some sort of, I don't know, a joke. He was laughing about it. But if you take that logic a little further, yeah, Diet Coke does kill grass. But it's just gonna stop at cancer. The poetry is sick though. Yeah, yeah. But I'm looking for the fish. You had an AI generated fish. I wanted to see a real fish look like Donald Trump. That's why I clicked. Ah, you fooled me.
Some grass once, and the grass died. Therefore, if you drink it, the cancer dies. Bro is out here doing some medical research on his front lawn. Yeah, take
His
that,
front lawn.
Moving on to the space news. NASA
Oh.
finally released the highest resolution images of the dark side of the moon. They spent literally billions of dollars, decades of research, and guys, the moon is double checked up on a Thursday afternoon. I mean, look at
that.
No wonder it. NASA literally
No wonder the wolves howl at the moon. Oh, that was great. That was great. Yeah, this is what kids should be watching. At least they're gonna kind of keep up with current dates with a little bit of like, you know, what's the word? Fun? Comedy? I'm subscribing, bro. You got some good stuff. You got 299K subscribers, bro. Jesus. That's a lot. When did you post this? 1 hour ago? Oh, I see. We're the first in. Very cool. If AI is being used the right way, let it be. At least the entire video. I'm happy. That's fair. But I'm happy that if that was an AI butt moon, the best moon I've ever seen.
had to issue
The best anyone has ever seen.
apology because they realized the internet is absolutely not mature enough to handle this information. Neil Armstrong didn't walk on the moon. He just gave it a little slap. Honestly, Elon Musk needs to send a rocket straight into that crater. Now let's talk a little bit about the music industry. DJ Marshmallow was headlining a
DJ
massive
Marshmallow,
ADM
yeah. I
festival
know him.
this weekend. Imagine The lights are flashing, the crowd is jumping, the vibes are immaculate until the Taco Bell he ate backstage decided to drop harder than the bass. Yep, mid-set, bro gets hits with explosive diarrhea, but he can't leave the stage. He's a professional, what does he do? So he takes off his marshmallow helmet, squats down behind DJ Dex, and absolutely ruins his own merchandise. You know the worst part? The crowd thought it was part of the performance. They were cheering while the man was fighting for his life in the bucket. Now that is
Damn.
dedication to the craft. Next time you buy a DJ helmet off eBay, make sure you wash it first. Alright, that is all the brain damage I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and as always,
A little bit of brain damage, but also enlightenments to current day events. I like it. They got to make it entertaining. Now, personally, the moon thing, I was keeping track of that, right? Also, did you know that two Outlook instances from the moon were not working? They tried to call in technical support through NASA. They're like, I have two Outlooks open and none of them are working. Yeah, good stuff, bro. Good stuff. Your English is fine. Actually adds emphasis. I have a friend from Czechia. I have a friend from Romania, Turkey. We all have accents, but that just kind of adds to the like spice of the language. So keep it up. Don't lose it. Don't lose the accent. You're speaking well. I understand everything you're saying, which is great. Don't even worry about that. Of course, I'm also more diversified in the Eurosphere. So I've heard all kinds of languages and accents to kind of work with understanding. So it may not be universal potentially. But I had no problem at all. Yeah, yeah. The eastern side of the world or the European world. Mm, but good speech, good everything. I do like the adjustments. So you got Venezuela, NASA Dark Secret. You didn't put marshmallow in the header. Potentially, because you're trying to get like a diverse set of right viewership. So you've got Venezuela, Trump, keywords of the recent, right? Although a little bit late. I would say a little bit late on this type. Try making something relating to the Hormuz Strait now. It's time for the Hormuz Strait. So if you're trying to really get those keywords in, Hormuz Strait, the moon landing was good, but you didn't put moon landing in here. Microslop is also a trending. Let me see. Let's go to trends.google.com. If you really want to, for me, I don't care. I'm here for educational content. You want to join me, cool. I'm not looking for like the highest set of values and viewership. I'm just looking for people interested in learning. So let's see worldwide. I hate when Google just, okay. Weather, WhatsApp news, Chat GPT still a hit. 2026, Gemini AI, Iran, big. Iran, straight, make some informational jokes about Hudmabia. Hudmabia. If you really wanted to base values, probably do week. Grab one of these. Those are popping up now. Yeah. When you catch me off guard, I'm gonna go ham with that. I'm gonna go ham. I got two kinds of laughs. The haha, that was cute, that was funny, and then the complete European Slavic falling apart laugh almost on the ground. That's the real one. When you can catch that one. There is a good case for like kind of working with the current dates. If you're trying to grab attention, depending on what region too. 'Cause I don't know a lot about European stuff. I really do keep more on the overall news networks. Trying to figure out world news. Like the only thing I know about Bulgaria recently was we just had the election here. Um, and it was Rumen Radev. And now I'm noticing a lot of the mainstream media is like sweating a little bit because he's friendly with Russia, aka he doesn't want to fight them because Russia has kind of saved Bulgarians from Turkish domination. And then, if you really think about it, Russia has also saved the world from Nazis when the Nazis got a little bit too carried away with their methamphetamines and their inability to go through the snow effectively. And Russia was able to come back and really thin the herd on the chaos from their blitzkriegs. So, like, there's this weird pattern here where Russia has come in, clear out a bit of the toxins in the human society. And now we have Trump, and he's acting a bit of a toxic part of society. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand exactly, but I don't believe everything that I'm fed on the golden platter. Let's put it that way. I'm always skeptical trying to figure out not only how does history play a part to a country's current stature, and we all know Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, ooh, Japanese nukes. The US doesn't have a clean history. And it's because we can have a lot of different people running the country, and not every single person running the country is going to have the best intentions. News. If you're looking for news, there we go. Iran war news. Iran is all over the place. AI is all over the place. Those are some keywords you can use for potentially if you want to grab a lot more of the. Oh, hold on. Let's see what your description looked like. Entirely fictional affair. You can always use AI to expand on this. Have a little bit more in your description. But a fair disclaimer. Yeah, it does rhyme. It does rhyme. Yeah. Yeah. Mm, so you can definitely increase the amount of content because Google really does depend on description to basically expand on what your video is about. That's why a lot of my lives don't do so hot until I go all out. I mean, it's not doing as hot as I would like them, but I mean, it's not horrible, right? I'm just a small creator here. Um, until I actually go into the details and start adding extra content. Some of this kind of stuff is details and then a lot of keywords. Probably should take this out because it's live, so it's not really happening anything right now. Keywords are important too for search to pop up. You're kind of working with the algorithm at this point. I'll do a a short on the reaction. Don't worry. Once this is all set and done, I'll make a short on my reaction if you really want to see it. So you can have it saved. Be like, look at this guy going ham with his laughing. I do get that a lot though. Like I do get like I know one of my students keeps saying that her mom always like cracks up whenever I crack up. She like his laugh is contagious or just weird or whatever, however you want to put it. All right, I think I'm gonna call it around here though. We had a pretty good sesh. I really respect you guys, appreciate you guys being here. Do join me again. I don't know if I'm gonna go back. I think I might. What time is it? No, no, I got someone about to call me. He's gonna want to do some job applications, so I'm gonna be busy for the next hour. Oh, maybe in about 3 hours I might come back, and that time I'm gonna play a little bit of Contraption Maker. 'Cause I really wanted to do some puzzles, so we can chit chat more then. But I do appreciate you guys coming in. Thanks for subscribing. We can do collab in the future if you like. Not that I'm a big dude. You've got way like my dude. How did you do that? Like I need to get advice from you. Like look at this. Hold up. How did you? I mean, viral, right? You get viral, you get things. How did you do that? How did you do that? Let me look around. Let me look around here. Let me look around here. Hold on. Huh? Yeah, you've got about the same valuation as me, though. Okay, you got some 2Ks in there, 7Ks. You got some bangers, I see. Some of them popped up real good, didn't they? That's cool. That's cool. What? Holy moly. What is that? Nice, dude. Nice, dude. You got some bangers. You got some bangers. Your thumbnails are good. Your thumbnails are bringing people in 100%. I probably need to get some viral tips from you on making thumbnails, but I don't know if I want to proceed in that direction, you know? Oh, I don't know if I want to be that trying to gain as much attention from slop and stuff. Um, I like the natural growth. Like, for instance, my websites, my whole domain of existence, organic, call it Apple, right? Call it Apple-esque that you don't see, well, you didn't see. You didn't see a lot of like advertising for Apple. The people all love Apple because of the product and the service and the thing they gave people. It wasn't because of the advertising. Not until like Verizon, T-Mobile, and other companies that would be like, "Hey, we're selling Apple phones. Get our subscription plan. Get $500 off an Apple phone." That's like the actual advertising that the phone companies made on behalf of Apple after it became such a big thing. I like the organic growth. Not only do I get real people in that want to actually interact, I have a lot of my students on here as well. They come in, drop in once in a while, like Leopard Guy. And I'm I don't want to just like I don't want to have a big website from spending a ton of money on advertising because that forces growth and that forced growth isn't natural. And there's no guarantee that the people are there for any reason other than that one situational interaction. They're not here because they're interested in what I do. They're not here because they're wanting to communicate. They just, oh, look, there's an advertisement for something. That's why I hate advertising. Unless something pertains to you, you'll share it with people if you like it. Hey, this guy's pretty cool. He talks about programming, he talks about math, and he's got this weird reaction videos, and you can check his laugh on this short, his ridiculous. That kind of stuff, like, getting part of the character. Um, so I appreciate you guys being here. I'm all for natural growth, but I do work in SEO and I know how to grow and use keywords appropriately and use today's technology like AI to basically optimize keywords. So stop smoking. That's a good advice. I probably should stop smoking on that note. Anyway, thanks for joining. Nice to meet you. Stop smoking. Thanks for joining me today, Tron. I appreciate you always on when I do see you. We'll see how often I do this. Maybe in the morning, since I try to go live around this time. It might be too late for some people, depending on the region and space. But I might still maintain like going live earlier when I wake up, do a little reaction, do some programming or whatever I feel like doing in the morning. Maybe during my cup of coffee, which I'm running out. I need to go get some coffee. But anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. For anyone else that watches this in the future, like and subscribe. Uh, the Discord is in somewhere in the chat, so you're gonna have to find it now that we have finished